Guess what, Greg?
What's that?
Once again, Kind of Funny Gamescast brought to you by
Video blocks.
Video blocks. Look at that eagle. Look at us.
There's
Stock
that girl
footage.
running.
Awesome stock footage. You can go there. It's very cheap. It's affordable. It's all these good things. Now, the best thing about this, royalty free, Greg.
Yeah.
It's a subscription based stock footage site. So you go there, you pay, you can download as much as you want, unlimited.
Sure.
Stock footage.
Right. Use it in your videos.
Then royalty free. Even when your subscription's done, this is your
Still
footage.
yours.
You're
So
totally
this
good.
isn't like PlayStation Plus.
Nope. This is
Nice.
the future. Unlimited downloads and unlimited creative uses, commercial uses, all that stuff. There's also audioblocks.com, which is the audio side of things. Where there's a bunch of
no
sound
video
library.
Right.
Yeah.
You want a creaking door? You want a creaking cat? You want a robotic dinosaur? They got it all at Audio Blocks.
Video Blocks is offering you all a year's subscription to both Video Blocks and Audio Blocks for only $149. This is a $100 discount off the normal price. An incredible discount deal to get both stock video and audio files for any future project you may be using. Get your subscription for only $149 at videoblocks.com/Gamescast 2016. As you can see there, videoblocks.com/Gamescast
I hope you enjoyed this ad, Cisco.
2016.
He liked the other one.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 99 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Oh yeah, 100's next week. And for the first time ever for like an actual celebratory show, we're doing something.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Well, 100's of something that matters.
Yeah.
A year in, 52 weeks in, that's not
That's the
something
problem.
to
It's like
celebrate.
we're always like, oh, we'll do it when we hit this milestone, then we forget about it and we don't. So I'm happy. Timing worked out for this. So that's going to be good. But first off, we're doing episode 99.
Yeah.
Don't want to sell this one short.
Don't jump ahead yet. There's something going on here in this
Yeah.
episode. There's things, there's opinions, there's game talk, there's Colin. He doesn't like this.
I'm not sure that he doesn't like it. Looked like
it felt
he-
kind of good.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it because it feels good.
This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every week we get together to talk about video games and all the things we love about them. I already fucked up the rigmarole. I'm Tim Gettys alongside the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
I feel like you have such a rolling intro to the show, you can't really fuck it up. You're just talking. You always just talk.
I just talk.
Yeah.
It's what I do. It's because I never really think about what I'm saying. And then as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, wait, there are
You
things
usually
I'm
say
supposed
other
to
things,
hit on.
yeah.
Like Steven Insler, Patreon producer. Thank you for supporting the show forever and making it last forever. Oh, yeah, and thank you all to the people that have supported us on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. A lot of people have been supporting to get the show. Colin was right, which is fucking fantastic.
Very good show.
Been a big fan. It's only getting better. Like a fine red wine.
You know how much you love red wine.
I love red wine. Thank you for your feedback on the show. The second of the 3 pilots that will be up by the time you see this, I assume.
All 3 will be up by the time this is.
Perfect. So, that's true.
That's wrong.
Well, this goes live next week, right?
No, this is
On
this is
YouTube,
this
it goes
week's
live on
show.
Patreon. We're complicated, but you're right. Episode 2 will for sure be
And
up.
it's a reflection on some of the actionable feedback that I got. So I hope that you guys can see the evolution, and hopefully the 3rd episode will then be an evolution from there. So, and then everything will roll out for free. You don't have to be, because people are like, well, I on YouTube comments, people are like, oh, I'm so happy to subscribe to Patreon now that I can, Colin's right. I'm like, I appreciate it, but it's going to be free for everyone on January. There will be no option to subscribe
this is
to
just
Patreon.
the Patreon pilot program. $1 gets you to see these and give feedback and direct it. Now, here's what I have to ask.
What do you
Colin.
got, Greg?
I love the show. You do great work. Did this shirt shrink? Is it a new shirt? I feel like this logo is bigger than ever for Dredge.
It's always been this big, I think.
It's just like looking at, maybe I've never looked at it in the monitor, but holy shit, is that a logo right there? Look, and I mean, you got such a manly chest too. That there it is, just jetting out there.
Oh, look how manly it is.
Oh. Yeah! It feels good!
I don't like it because it feels good. You shouldn't be making me feel good sexually. Thank you.
It's true. How do you spell Dredge? Is it DREDG?
Yep.
What is that?
Band.
I know it's a band, but like, what's dredge?
Well, dredging, I think, is like going into dredging. This isn't the way you really spell dredge.
Yeah, there's an E on it.
But I think isn't dredging going into like water and moving land around inside of it? Isn't that?
Well, I think
dredge?
it's. I thought dredging is like dragging, like you dredge chicken, right? When you're doing when like
that too. But I think I thought it had something to do. Yeah, dredge with an E at the end of it. What does it say? I can't see.
Clean out the bed.
No, that can't be it.
You gotta keep reading.
What does it say? I can't see it. Thank you. Clean out the bed, a harbor, river, or other area of water by scooping out mud, weeds, and rubbish with a dredge. Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Noun, an apparatus for bringing up objects or mud from a river or seabed by scooping or dragging. What's number 2 on the noun? Is that all there is for nouns?
What the hell?
It comes from English dredge, late 15th century, Middle Dutch, dreggy, grappling hook.
That's kind of sick.
Well, there you go.
Do you think that they call it like this because they wanted to get the URL
Probably.
and the Twitter name?
Yeah. They were in high school, I think, when they came up with this name. So who knows what the hell it is.
Exactly.
They
Zanga
probably
name.
just spelled it wrong.
Yeah, that's probably true. So, guys, you guys both beat all 5 episodes of Telltale's Batman.
I did. I somehow beat it before Greg, which was insane. Because of the who knew it was going to be the first because of the crashing and all of this kind of stuff that happened in the 5th episode.
Yeah. Well, it was more insane because you actually played a Telltale game before they were all out. That was the interesting.
That was
playing them.
unintentional though.
You just got confused. But I had been playing them, and then you started before me and then beat it last night before me. But we both beat it last night. Overall, what a fucking experience.
It's a great game.
Yeah, really.
Before we get into this,
my
let's
apologies.
set some ground rules. What are we doing here? What are you guys going to do?
I'd love to spoil
I think
it,
this is
but-
the review, so I think we spoil
so
away here.
How about you want to do a spoiler-free review?
Sure, okay,
for a little
like-
bit, and then make
like
it
our
very
movies.
Clear, yeah, make it very clear when the spoilers come in.
Okay, yeah.
And then for people that don't want spoilers, come back for topic 2.
Okay. So, but right now it's spoiler free. So overall, I think an awesome game, awesome experience. I love the chances they took in the way they played with Batman mythology. It's what I always talk about where what I'm excited for with the Spider-Man games Marvel's doing now, or Spider-Man's Insomniac's Spider-Man game, where I think they're going to go out and actually do something different, give people the keys to the kingdom, not be tied to the lore. And that's exactly what this Batman game was, where it starts off. I think I was talking to Mitch, our friend Mitch Dyer, and he had been playing and then stopped playing. And he's like, it's just more Batman. I'm like, yeah, that's the episode 1 sets it up very much that like this is the Batman, this is the Gotham you know and love. And then at the end, they drop that cliffhanger. And when I came into episode 2, I was expecting them to take it away. To be like, but it wasn't what you thought it was. That was just a cliffhanger. Instead, they go balls deep on it of just like, no, that's what this is. And this guy's doing that. And they start mutating and taking the Batman mythos we know so well and doing interesting things with it. And it's not exactly what you expect. And when that starts happening for me, it then began making me question all of my relationships with the other characters, where I'm like, all right, I'm going to back you because I think, they're toying around a lot. And so you have to start thinking of, I know character X in this fashion and who they've been in past canon and past comics and movies and stuff like that. But based on what they're doing in this game, should I trust them? Is this character X that I've always known as character X? They play with those relationships and those characters where you do start to question if you can trust that person the way you think you can trust them. At least I did. And then go through and start playing. And that's fascinating, let alone the fact that it is a Batman game that lets you be the Batman you want to be. And I found, like, I've been doing that Telltale show over there. Full disclosure, I host that Telltale Batman talk show. They don't pay me, so whatever. But so that's like why, whatever. You can try believe me or don't believe me, I don't care. But one of my favorite conversations with when I have guests on that show is, like, we just had Troy on, right? And talking to Troy, him and I are playing incredibly different Batmans. And I can't get over the way he's playing because he's playing the brutal, vengeful, I'm going to break your arm and I'm going to hit you with this steel pipe and I'm going to throw you down and impale you on shit. And I'm like,
get shot, Batman.
Holy fuck, like that's not Batman. And he's like, no, that is Batman to me. And that's what's so fascinating about this game is that Telltale's always giving you the ability to choose, X, Y, or Z or whatever to make your choices and branch out your story. And it always comes back, right? We always talk about it being like, this bell-shaped thing where you're going to eventually have to come back to the same point. You come out and come back to the same conclusion. And so that's always taking something away from it. But here I feel like there's so many little choices you're making that really influence not necessarily the story, but your role in it, your Batman and how that's going to play out. And that's fascinating in the way of like I'm playing it the way Batman has always been in the comics, where it is very much, or the Batman I think of in all the comics, right? Where it is, I'm going to do good for all the people in my life. I'm going to protect Gotham at all costs. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to set an example of what we all can be. I'm going to be that, gray and blue cowl Batman. I'm not being the dark, fucking Burton Batman or the Frank Miller Batman. And to see that being out there and it's always a tantalizing choice, and especially in episode 5, I think, where you start building up and things are happening. That's when I was like thinking like, if they give me the option to do this, what am I going to do when I really get there? But in the end, I just kept being good old Batman. Colin, spoiler free. How are you enjoying it?
I think it's great. I think that there are a lot of technical issues. I actually had a back and forth today with the CEO of Telltale on Twitter, where he was asking about what the problems were, and I told him, and then I reflected after that. I'm like, I really hope you figure these problems out. Like your narrative and your storytelling and your characters deserve a better engine. And frankly, just to get the negative out of the way, Batman is another engineering failure on Telltale's part, and especially the 5th episode. I noticed.
I want to go through this, like actually what we saw in episode 5, because that would like outside of this we talked about on Colin and Greg Live. I had the little hitches, like the Telltale hitch, I always call it, where you're about to transition scenes in the other episodes. I was like, all right, whatever, it's better than usual. But then episode 5 was one of the worst Telltale experiences I've had in terms of quality.
So I think it speaks to the game's caliber that I still actually loved it, even though the 5th episode in particular was it was a mess, and it's a mess for a lot of people. People are just not appearing.
Yeah.
But Batman, I think for a lot of people, I think in the same thing. You fight in a certain place, and you're fighting a guy who's not even there.
I didn't have
and
that.
It's just eyeballs and like
yeah,
a mouth. And I actually was really funny because then the guy's like running in the background somewhere.
Yeah,
and
you see the eyes and the mouth run by.
And I'm like, why is this like?
And and I put up the video clip of that last night saying I'm seeing this, and so many people are like, I saw that too. And then you tweeted that you had a slowdown in your first 15.
It was awful. It was barely running.
Wow.
Like in the first 15 minutes or 10 minutes or so. People were talking about how the game was crashing at certain points and missing trophies, so people have to play the whole thing again to get the trophies, which is bullshit. That would fucking infuriate me if that happened. And there are just other issues as well. But in the other 4 episodes, there was slowdown and hitching constantly, and not nearly to the extent of this. Actually, I think in the 3rd or 4th episode, I had a similar significant frame rate slowdown. And so just on a technical level, like there are no more excuses. The PS4 should be able to run this game just fine. They talked about how this is a new engine, and I'm putting that in quotes because it's reacting a lot like the old engines from the Walking Dead anyway that I played years ago. And there are no more excuses. These games are not technological behemoths. They are not doing anything interesting or unique from a technical standpoint. The game should be able to run, and especially on these new machines. And so that, just getting the negative out of the way, they need to fix that. It's inexcusable.
Well, what's
It's
crazy
inexcusable
about
how
it is
broken
the
these
fact
games
that
are.
we're all seeing the same, how similar they are and how different they are. So I didn't have the slowdown, and I had seen people bitching about that when I was getting ready to launch. I was like, fuck. I didn't get it, and I was like, oh, good, it's not a widespread problem. Then I got Eyeball Man. I tweeted that out, and so many people were like, I got that too. And then it was 3 back-to-back crashes where Eyeball Man happened. We were about to scene transition, doing hard lock, blue screen. Then it was another one. I got into the battle at the end, hard lock, blue screen. Then one more time it happened in that battle. I was like, what the fuck?
It is strange that that these things happen, and I've also read about people losing their saves. This was a thing that was happening at Game of Thrones. I mean, these are like, it's just fix your fucking engine.
Yeah.
Like I don't like. Just to get the fury out of Colin right now, like it's insane that this is still happening. These games are not that dynamic. I'm sorry, like they're not. So they should be able to fix that. I think they know that that's an issue. I just don't think they care. I mean, that's what they're telling me now. Like not literally, but that's what they're saying by putting this game out in this condition. We still don't give a fuck about this. Sorry. So that's my takeaway on the negative side. That said, the overwhelming positivity I have for the game is the storytelling was great. I tried to play it in the way that, first of all, it felt like there were really consequential decisions to be made, and the game actually radically changed. And I like how there were multiple times in the series in all 5 episodes, and I want to say maybe even one time per episode where it was really like a big decision, and the game stops and lets you actually think about it, which I think is
where
cool.
It pops up and
Yeah.
it's like, which one do you want to do?
And I always tended to play and to go forward as much as possible as Bruce Wayne. That was like my whole thing is like I tried to keep Batman out of it as much as possible. And because I think Bruce Wayne is just way more interesting than Batman. I think that in everything I've seen, actually, he's more interesting than Batman. So I liked that. I tried to play it to the best of my ability in terms of being tonally consistent. And obviously you have those kinds of options as well. I like knowing Batman way more and way better than I know any other comic book. I do like how they play around with certain characters. We'll get into that in the spoiler section, and even brought up some questions that I had asked Greg because I was like, this doesn't even sound right. Like this doesn't sound like something that's in Batman, and it wasn't, because they're just making things up as they go along, which I think is totally fine.
Which is refreshing,
yeah,
right? Like
and-
how many times do we need to hear the same story? That my biggest complaint against Arkham Knight, spoilers, is that right? It's just, all right, cool. This is just the Jason Todd story again. This is, Red Hood. Why did they make a big deal like this is going to be original when it isn't original at all? You just call the character a different name.
And I will say that I like how the decisions need to be. I feel like the decisions need to be made snappier than usual. I don't know if that's true or not, because I haven't played anything Telltale's done in the years. But I felt like I didn't have time
Last
almost
night-
to make the decisions, and I thought that was kind of cool, but at the same time, not cool. You know, I think I read actually pretty quickly, and but then you have to calculate and compute it. And
Well, I think that's the whole thing. Like, for last night in episode 5, for the first time in a lot of Telltale games that I've played, it was that I got the bar down because I was like fretting over which decision to make, and I just chose one, right, and it didn't go the way I wanted it to, and I was like, that was a dumb move, but it was, that's how it went. That's what Bruce did in that moment. That's how I, as Bruce, reacted, and that's what I have to live with. And it's like, all right, I always like that. That's kind of cool. You know what I mean? I could go back and I could replay, but you can always just watch a YouTube video because it's very much like, that's my playthrough. That's my Batman. This is how my story went.
Yeah, I made decisions that I didn't think were the ones that I wanted to make, but I stick with it because it's the nature of it and it's the unpredictability of it. I think they play around with the button prompts in the sense that it's not always like Mass Effect, like Paragon and Renegade are always these predictable answers. Like sometimes it seems like you're making a bad decision, but it reminds me a little bit more of like Fallout New Vegas in that respect. Yeah, I like the characters. I like the voice acting. I think I think that they have to simplify these games a little bit in the sense that I found myself most engaged with them. I was literally playing the game most of the time with my controller just on my right hand. And that's totally fine, a fine way to play it. I felt myself engaged and engrossed in it a few times where I forgot to make a decision just because I was like staring at it, like as if something was going to happen. I'm like, oh yeah, like I have to do something. And then it was just the ellipsis option instead, like he didn't say anything. I don't necessarily ever need to have control over Batman in the way that they give you control over him. And I think that they should remove these elements from these games. And I had the same complaint about The Walking Dead, which I really thought was great as well, where any moment where you're walking around a scene or identifying things, I'm like, I don't need to see or do any of this. Like, just show me, like, make it more of a pure adventure game where I'm making decisions, the things are going, and I'm selecting things on screen, but you don't have to, like, I feel like they throw this shit in because they feel like they have to, and I don't think it adds anything to the game. I actually think it detracts from the game. I think the most exciting parts of the game are when you're, like, the first episode's a great example when Bruce Wayne's at, with Harvey at the mansion at some sort of political fundraiser and it's just a long time of just making decisions. Just walking around, you're not controlling anything. You're just making decisions. Everyone's talking and reacting to the things you say.
100%.
And I think that that's the most fun part of the game. And I understand that to a lot of people, that's not a game. But to me, that is a game. It's a visual novel in that respect.
That's a good point. The visual novel is the more making choices and asking. But I feel like the walking around is the more classic adventure.
Well, I mean, I'm talking more of a maybe for more of a point and click or hidden object kind of game where I'm like, I don't like hidden object games. I actually reviewed one for IGN for some reason. But like something like more static screen, less more agency given through less locomotion of the character, I guess. I think that would be great.
Like in Batman, there's the detective things where you walk around and try to reconstruct the crime scene, which I thought was cool enough, right? But it is just enough of identifying all these different things and then piecing together. Episode 5 does one that I won't spoil, but you're seeing images and you have to put together what's happening through them, and that would be a way to do it. Just fixed camera perspectives, right? Where you move around to one way, you move over to some. You're just making, I don't even know, but like Batman is naturally moving through once he's gotten everything he needs from this one area. That'd be a way to do it and go, because it is that thing of like, why do I need to walk him around the house? Because then it does get awkward and like, you know what I mean? That was always the thing, like what you're talking about with Walking Dead, where in season 1, Lee Everett in the pharmacy, when you walk him around, it was always awkward because it was like there was like one part where you couldn't tell there's like a blind corner or something, so he just like walked all weird into a wall.
Yeah, it's unimmersive, and so that's a complaint of mine. But I think the storytelling is so strong. I think the butterfly effects are so significant and so deep, and I will give them a lot of credit. And I'm excited about this. There's clearly going to be a second season, and a lot of the things you do in the 5th episode in particular are remembered by characters you never see again. And so clearly the save's going to carry over, and clearly the things you do in episode 5 are going to carry over to season 2, episode 1. So I am excited about that as well, because I think that, Troy Baker is very strong in this. I think I like Alfred's portrayal, which is pretty tonally consistent in a lot of things, but I liked there was an extra edge to him in this particular one. I thought the Harvey in particular was super interesting, and maybe just the choices I made, but super left field. And then there are some cameos and stuff like that I think set up everything for the second season. So I liked it a lot. I think it would be one of the best games of the year if it ran better and it dealt with some of those things. I think I would remove it from that list because of the way it runs and because there's just way better games this year. But it is a game that people should play. $25. It's a totally reasonable investment.
So spoiler time.
Yeah.
If you guys don't want to be spoiled, stop listening. Come back for topic 2, or play the game. Come back later. Greg.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I still like it, even with the spoilers out there. Now, what's fascinating is watching how other people play and what their Batman becomes and what their cast of characters becomes, right? Like the choice I made in the moment that as soon as I did, I was like, oh, that was so bonehead, as I told Catwoman I loved her. And I was like, oh, that's not how I should have played that. I shouldn't have said that. God damn it. Like in episode 5, when on the road, I want to know, what did you say to her and what happened?
I think so in that, they're coming to arrest you because you told Catwoman, you told Selena you loved her. So in that particular conversation, I told her that I was like, it meant something, that relationship meant something to me. I definitely went down that line. But then when it went to like, I love you, I was just like, goodbye.
Nice.
And let her go.
And she took it.
She remembered that.
Yeah. Because that was the thing where, for me, I said I love you, and I was like, no. And she's like, that just shows you're like everybody else or whatever, and put on her helmet and drove away. I was like,
we left on great terms.
No, we did not leave on good terms. I was like, see you later. See you later. Good riddance, or some other things pop up. I'm like, see you later. Fucking rode off. I'm like, God damn it, I look like a fucking chump. I got played on this one, motherfucker.
So I think the big spoilers are, first of all, Joker's in it. And I like how they introduce him. I find him super weird and unsettling, which I think is the idea. He's super over the top, happy and normal and passive.
The best part about how they play him in episode 4 on his introduction is the fact that we know him. So we're reading so much into him, and that whole thing that he's clearly acting sane. He's a crazy person acting how he thinks a sane person would act. And he has those moments where he breaks, right, and yells at the guy and bangs on the door and then walks away and like tries to pull it back together. And so I have him now out, ready to go. Not to mention in the riot scene in episode 5, just chilling there, just like, I'm a big fan of your work. And it's also, I love how much intrigue, and like you're talking about how your save's going to carry over. You assume and hope so, obviously.
I mean, it has to be. There are things that they're literally telling you, these characters remember all the shit that does not matter.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing where, like, I don't know how you played it in episode 4, but when he's like, will you owe me a favor? I'll help you here if you'll owe me one.
Yeah, I did.
And so he's like, you're going to owe me one. And the way Joker talks to Bruce Wayne in Arkham makes it seem like he knows he's Batman. And then in episode 5, their interaction didn't play that way, so I don't know if that's the case, but that would be such a fucking awesome twist on lore if Joker's introduction to Batman and Bruce Wayne in season 2 is he knows everything, and he knows that you owe him a favor, and I helped you out, Bruce, and don't make me blow you up, but get me out of these jams.
The one thing that I was with Joker is I wish he wasn't in it at all. I'm glad that they gave it a different take or whatever. I'm so sick of seeing the Joker. There are other bad guys that are way cooler, I think, in Batman, that they could totally explore in different ways than the same fucking person over and over again. And that was that's why it was cool that Zaz is in it and all these other people, and the sock puppet guy, what's that guy's name? The guy with
the puppeteer, right?
So like there's like
title on it?
Yeah.
There's other guys and girls that they could explore, and so it's like, come on, man. Like that was like my one reaction. I was like, I like
the ventriloquist.
There it is.
Fuck.
I like that it's
Puppeteer's
a video game.
It's a PS3 game.
Use the move.
Whatever. I think it's
so that was a little disappointing, just in the sense I'm like, because it takes such there's so much leniency in terms of the storytelling, in terms of what they're doing. For instance, the bad guy is Vicky Vale. In the game, and
which was an awesome twist.
It was a disappointing. It was a great twist, but I was disappointed because I wanted to have sex with Vicky Vale. So it was one of those things where like I thought we were going to that space.
Yeah. Well, but that's why I loved it. Is that like for me, like I yelled at the voice actress on the Unmasked show, because for me at the end of episode 1, right, you have the incriminating evidence on Falcone, and it's, do you want to go to Gordon or do you want to go to Vale? And I was like, I'm gonna go to Vicky Vale because I know she can get it out. Gordon's got, I still think Gordon's a good guy, obviously, but I think he's got so much bureaucracy and the whole fucking rotten apple on top of him, he'll never be able to do anything with it. So to give it to her and be playing nice with her and be like making those choices with her as an ally, to then have her, when she stabs me in the hand, I'm like, oh shit, she's on the drug. And then it was like, no, she is Lady R. I'm like, oh fuck, no.
It was a twist. I didn't see the twist coming.
Exactly.
And then the dealing with the Penguin I thought was most interesting, and that's where they took the most liberty with him, their childhood friends, and which is one of the things I asked you. I'm like, I didn't know that about Penguin. I was like, I didn't know they were childhood friends, and they're not. But in this game, they are, and I like the mask that they gave him. It was very Christopher Nolan-esque. I think that's how Christopher Nolan would have portrayed Penguin if they did it. And to me, I don't know. I liked the synthesis of the bad guys and kind of the plot. I thought the plot was somewhat meaningless at the end of the day. To me, it was really about Bruce's relationship with Selena and Alfred and the Commissioner, who's not the Commissioner until the last episode, but and how they kind of all intermingle, and then making these choices that I felt like were most tonally consistent with what I wanted to do. And again, I wanted to be a badass Batman when necessary, but I wanted it to be Bruce Wayne as much as possible. And there are multiple times in the game where it tells you, do you want to do this as Bruce Wayne or do you want to do this as Batman? And I always chose Bruce. I beat the living shit out of Penguin in his office, which was one of the big choices that I saw at the end that a lot of people didn't make. And I did that as Bruce Wayne.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
So like there's a lot of cool stuff there where it's like it's the trophy whore in me speaking, but it's like I like that they give you the platinum just for beating the game or whatever, but at the same time it would have been cool to make me go back because I would have at least had an extra carrot on the stick as opposed to going to YouTube, which is what I'm going to do. I would have rather have gone back and had to have played it again and then make different choices. But this is my Batman, and I deleted it off my console yesterday, but I have my save in the cloud, and in 2 years, or 18 months when we get the new one, I'll jump back in. But I thought, story-wise, I thought it was very strong and very consistent. The one thing that I thought was weird is in the 5th episode, this was the only thing I thought was truly bizarre, was Vicky Vale is the bad guy, Lady Arkham's the bad guy, or whatever. She has her concussion staff, whatever. It's pretty cool. But Batman is beating the living shit out of her in the last episode, and I'm like, this doesn't look good. And it's not one of those people where I'm like, you have to introduce a girl and she's going to be dealt with the same way a guy's dealt with. But he is like murdering her. And I'm like, she's like a 90-pound woman. I'm like, this doesn't really.
She got them
why
boots.
is she so strong?
She got them boots, those concussive boots. She was flying around.
It doesn't really make any. That didn't really make any sense.
That said, though, I thought
he looked like he was going to kill her.
I thought that fight scene was really, really well done for Telltale, who I've always thought has struggled with action. I thought that was a really well done fight scene. The same way I thought in episode 2, the Selena Bruce bar scene was awesome. That was great. A cool scene, set to music, and for me, it was a really great moment of getting lost in a game, and where Telltale I think succeeds so much is that we have this great fucking thing where we beat the shit out of all these guys together as Bruce, as Selena, and then you run out and you get behind the car and you're talking to her, and like the thing comes up of like, kiss her, and I was like, yeah, kiss her, and it wasn't like, yeah, fucking kissing. It was like, yeah, like I think show don't tell is always that thing, right? In comics, always, in movies, always to tell you how Batman and Catwoman have this unspoken bond, and there's this this attraction to them that's unspoken. And for me, being in that moment of being Bruce Wayne or being Batman, making those choices, getting us to this point, and coming out of that, I was like, oh fuck, you're badass. This is badass. We're badass together, and do it. And then she's like, what would Harvey think? And I was like, oh fuck, right. Wasn't even thinking about the fact that I'm legitimately friends with Harvey in this game, and I like Harvey so much. And it was like, wow, that's really cool. That's really well done.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other interesting thing. I guess the only other thing I really have to say, and of any substances, the way Two-Face was dealt with in Harvey, I thought was interesting because they teased that he's going to become Two-Face, but he never really does. Like at least in my playthrough,
yeah,
where
he never became Two-Face for you, right?
Like he like hurts himself in like a certain way that seems like he's gonna be like the half and half. Then they stop. They like don't go that far, and then they really just play up his mental illness, like that he's just fucking crazy, like that he's not even really bad.
And he could be Two-Face in your game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So he's not Two-Face in my game.
Yeah, he's not Two-Face in my. I mean, it's. To be clear of what we're saying is he can have the burned half of the face. By the end of it, he's clearly Two-Face. He's doing the thing where he's talking to himself, changing his voice. And I did think I thought up until then they had been really up until episode 5 with the whole Two-Face thing, they had made like 1 or 2 references. And I was like, all right, that's a new face for Gotham and all that. I was like, all right, that's funny. That's good. And then in episode 5, they say Two-Face twice. And the first time they say it, I was like, all right. And the second time it was like, sorry to be such a Two-Face about this. I'm like, that's not a phrase. You're trying too hard to make me. Anyways, no. At the end of episode 2, when you have to make the choice whether you're going to save Selena or Harvey, yeah,
I saved.
You saved Harvey.
Yeah.
So did I, because at that point it pops up, and I'm like, and legitimately, because it's like, who do you save? I thought Telltale was crazy enough to kill one of them, and it popped up, and I was like, Selena knew what she was getting into, and she's a costume person like me. She knows what this life is. At this point in the game, Harvey's still an innocent. Like, he's just trying to fucking be mayor. He doesn't deserve this. So I went and saved him. She gets shot, but it doesn't even matter. If you save Selena, Penguin slams his face with a hot spotlight and burns his face.
Oh.
Yeah. And so then from there on out, he would have the thing. And it's...
Oh, interesting. That's disappointing, actually, in a way.
It's the same trajectory of... He starts wearing a mask and there's an additional added breakdown of this happening. How can he be mayor? How can I do anything look like that? And that's where the psychoses really gets ratcheted up another notch.
I would like for him to come back around.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Yeah, I imagine like what you're talking about with he'll remember that and stuff. I don't know if it'll be a main player in season 2.
Well, I'm saying like where it's like a redemption thing where he doesn't really.
If that's what you mean.
Like,
yeah,
he doesn't
yeah.
really go.
That'd be really cool. And like you still. That's how the conversations I was having with him at the end, right? Where. Yeah, I'm talking to him as Bruce, and I'm very much like I'm stressing. I want to help you. I want to help you. This isn't you. This isn't you. It's not. There's options to like be really aggressive and rush in and try to fight him and shit like that. That's not what I was doing. And so Yeah, to what you're talking about of like how you address the situation as Bruce all the time, I carried with me very much what I believe Batman to be, where Batman is Batman and Bruce is the mask, right? So I never ever gave a shit about the Wayne family name or, what Bruce's opinion is and what Gotham sees as him. So when it came to those things where it was like, there was a few where it was like, for like when you want to confront Harvey after the Selena stuff, I went as Bruce because I was like, well, this is me. But for like, I think maybe even Mayor Hamilton too, I went as Bruce. But that's really it's like when it was Batman. Bruce when Bruce was in the shitter and everybody thought he was terrible, and it was like you can show up as Bruce or Batman. This will be a good for Batman. It'll show people who Batman is. I did that because I was always making the choice. And then at the end of this one too, like I had Batman show up at Commissioner Gordon's thing at the very end of episode 5 because I was like,
he seemed disappointed that Bruce showed up.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is in my head, I'm like, Bruce Wayne's still a shitbag. The Wayne name is still totally fucked. Thomas Wayne was fucking drugging people and admitting them to Arkham and ruining lives. Like he's a monster. The Wayne family, Bruce showing up isn't going to save that.
Yeah, that's a foundational part of the story that we didn't talk about, by the way.
Yeah,
and
that's an awesome twist. Yeah, the Waynes were awful and they did ruin the Cobblepot family, which is why when Oswald starts getting his comeuppance and getting CEO and stuff at first, and why he's even totally unhinged and an asshole. I'm like, this all makes sense now. Yeah, you actually do have a bone to pick and an axe to grind with the Wayne family and Arkham, and that makes so much sense. And that's why it is so cool to see, Bruce admitted and have to deal with all that shit. And that all of that was awesome stuff, I thought. And like that, and those were the great moments too of talking to Troy and just talking to other players of like being inside of Arkham, right? There's the thing of I want to get out, but then there's also of like I want to know everything about who John Doe is, the Joker. Like, what does everybody know about him? And then like he gives you that key. I walked over to the guard pretty much immediately and I was like, hey, I have this. And they're like, and I kept being a good teacher. Like in Zaz, like when Zaz gets cut, did you run it to the phone or did you save the guy?
I saved the guy.
Yeah, see, that me too. And like everyone at the Telltale panel, Batman himself, Troy Baker was like, no, I ran to the phone. I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's an innocent life that didn't need to end in front of you right there.
Yeah, I was the key thing. I tried the key a million different times on everything, and it didn't. I don't really know what the significance of it was. The what I'm super interested now in is in going to season 2. Who's going to be the main antagonist? And because I don't, Penguin's gone. I sure they're going to lead in the Joker, but what I'm hoping they are smart enough to do is if they have permission from DC or an intent to do more than 2 seasons, is that they actually lead that even further and don't actually make him like the arch nemesis in the last season, the 3rd season, or whatever. And has some sort of, I've always really I've said it a million times that if Nolan did another movie, I'd always want Mr. Freeze to be the bad guy, and I'd like to see them do a grounded and totally normal Freeze, and what that would be like.
Well, for me, there's so many things to explore in season 2 that I'm stoked about. I love the Joker. I wouldn't mind seeing another Joker story because I think their Joker's different, and I would like to see what that looks like, what they do with that based on how they twisted things here. And I think from the feedback they've been getting, it seems they're like, oh shit, we can do whatever we want now. And you've really done that here where it's like, now the audience kind of understands that anything can happen in the game. Let's go and piggyback off of that and see what happens and where we go with it. But the thing even when we were doing the Unmasked shows, people weren't talking about enough, I felt like, is I think my favorite breadcrumb in the episode is the little black orphan boy in the Vale household. Because I think he's going to be Duke. Because his story is so much like Duke right now in the comic books of Batman saves Duke, his parents, die in the whole Joker thing from the end of the New 52 before we jumped, right, or whatever.
I forgot what the storyline was called. But the death of the family, right? That's when Joker puts that toxin out. They all go crazy. Duke's family goes. Then he becomes one of the We Are Robin kids, and now he's the guy in All-Star Batman running around in the black and gold suit or whatever, and like. Just the way that like he saves him reminds me so much of the way he saves every one of the Robins or whatever. It'd be awesome to see him introduced, not as Robin, but as the All-Star Batman, different thing here.
That's what I thought. Not knowing anything about this Duke character, I was like, I assume that's going to be Robin.
Yeah. I would fucking love to see that and have them continue to just branch off and do their own world and do whatever they want with it and all these different things. I thought it was cool too. Like, it was weird when in that Vale family crime scene, episode 4, when she chokes the dad with the belt. And I was like, that was a weird choice, like to fucking wail on him and kill him with his belt that you didn't take off his body. Why does that matter? And then in this episode to drop into the torture chamber and have all the belts and the blood on the wall. I was like, oh, this Vale family fucking sucked. They were terrible people. All right, that makes sense why she went in here and went fucking ham on these idiots.
Any closing words on Batman?
I still wanted to have sex with Vicky Vale, but it didn't happen.
You had sex with Catwoman, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
did you unzip it or did you let her unzip it?
I let her unzip.
Hell yeah, you did.
Yeah, I let her
yeah,
unzip.
you did. She's straddling Bruce, and she's like, "You gonna do this for me, or do you want to watch?" And he's like, I'm like, "I'd like to watch."
Do you want to watch is probably the best way to phrase
And
that.
I was
otherwise be like, I want to do
and
it.
shout out, and like that's another thing about it is that was a surprising moment for me where I was like, I want to watch, and I expected them to slowly do the fade back, and it's like, no, here I'm unzipping, and I mean, you don't see like nips or anything.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Little cat
damn,
nips.
like this is actually again an adult Batman story, right? Like it's the same thing in episode 1 when the guy's been shot in the head or whatever, and he comes in and like uses that thing to like suck the bullet out, and then you impale Falcone if you want at the end on the rebar, and it's like, or you break the guy's arm, and it's like, fuck, this is actually a very mature Batman, you know what I mean, in terms of like how we're handling all of this and what we're going to do with it, and how bloody we'll get and how violent we'll get and curse words and sex, and it's like, all right, rad.
Yeah.
It's a great version of Batman. Yeah, all the technical stuff we've talked about sucks. For me, it really cropped up in episode 5, and I hope that gets patched quick enough, but it doesn't stop it for me in terms of like, I think it's one of the best things of the year.
Yeah, just go in with open eyes. That's Telltale.
Topic 2. Biggest gaming disappointments and fuck-ups and mistakes of 2016.
No Man's Sky!
I think that's the number 1.
Of course, yeah. Is there any argument that that's the number 1, I think?
That's the thing is like I feel like that's a fuck up on such a monumental level. It wasn't just the launch that was fucked up because there's other games that had fucked up launches.
Sure.
Pretty much every AAA game ever at this point. But the thing is like The Division, right? It comes out, issues all around, people having a lot of problems with it, but then fairly quickly fixes itself. People love it, right?
Sure.
And then it might fall off, but then it comes back and it's just, whatever. But No Man's Sky is that one that just
It wasn't
kinda
a technical thing they had a problem with, right?
Yeah.
It was the entire marketing spiel leading up to it. It was the pitch of what gamers thought they were about to get based on trailers and interviews and all these different things. It was a colossal fuck up.
The thing about No Man's Sky to me is that it's a failure on so many levels. It's not just a marketing level. It's not just a game design level or the way they delivered it. It's like everyone was in on it, and I don't mean that in like a very like it's a fucking conspiracy, but everyone had a hand. All angles had a hand in making this a complete disaster. The game, first of all, I don't think is good. In this short time I played it, I think it's fucking boring. But apart from that, the marketing was disingenuous, and that's Sony's fault. Sony overexposed this game for years. That's Sony's fault. PR had a hand in it as well, obviously, with Sony. And then Hello Games didn't deliver the game that they went around and promised for years. They didn't deliver on a lot of things they promised. And again, I was as people might remember, I was one of the skeptics that wanted to give Hello Games maybe the benefit of the doubt originally until people like Jim Sterling and others did videos and had some evidence where I'm like, okay, this is clearly what they said and they did not deliver. And I think that that's a failure on that level as well. And as I said before, it's a failure on media's level. The way the media hypes up games is sad to me. And this is a good example of we're allowed to be excited about games, right? And sometimes it doesn't pan out. Mafia 3 is a great example. I was super excited about Mafia 3 and I was actually positive it was going to be good. And I think the narrative was good. And I think it was an interesting story and a very dynamic story, but the game wasn't very good. It was super boring. And that's why after 25 hours, I was just like, I can't play this anymore. I'm not interested in this game. So we're all complicit in that in a way, but the way the media, and as I've said before, even when we were more in mainstream media, when people were talking about No Man's Sky and how great it was going to be and how ambitious it was, I was like, this game is just not going to be what you think it is. And this sets seeds that are sown over several years where people start to expect things out of the game. And so from any angle you look at it, it was an abject failure, and they paid the price. And then after post launch, they just stayed silent. They were weird. Sony was weird. Like it's I hope a good lesson learned from all games like this. I think have to happen every once in a while for people to understand like what not to do. And from almost every angle, you learned what not to do with your game release and your game launch. And so hopefully it's a useful tool to people. And for those out there, those few people out there that, and then there are people out there that still enjoy the game and like the updates and stuff, I hope you continue to enjoy it. But for everyone else out there, I hope this was an instruction on to be more skeptical of what media says and what we say, to be skeptical of clear wanting to sell things marketing, which is what marketing does, and PR speak and all those kinds of things, to be wary of developer promises, to do all those things. Those are all very important things.
To be incredibly clear, what you're saying, those aren't mutually exclusive. Like you always say that, you don't think it's a good game. I like No Man's Sky. It's a game I intend to get back to. Still, that said, does not negate everything that just happened. You know what I mean? Like, I agree. I remember that E3 you're talking about where everybody wanted to vote it for Game of the Show or whatever.
Yeah, and we were like,
no, like we've played a bunch of games. And I'm not knocking that looked awesome. I still don't know what that is. And that was 2 E3s of me going, I don't know what this game is. And it's a tired story. Kevin and I went and played it, the third E3. And I was like, oh, I know what this is now. I'm looking forward to this. And what I played there is what I got and why I enjoy it. But that doesn't at all take away from all the pomp and circumstance, the video you're talking from, Jim, where it is Sean Murray saying a lot of things that don't show up in the game that aren't mutually exclusive. You're allowed to enjoy the game and be like, but this isn't the game everyone was talking about and thinking it was going to be, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Other just mistakes and fuck ups. Obviously, you can't talk about those things without mentioning Nintendo. I feel like the last couple of years has been really rough for them. And I'm happy that in the last few months, they've done nothing, in my opinion, but great calls, great decisions. The Switch, the marketing seems amazing. Everything with Super Mario Run, the internet stuff, we'll see. Like by the time this post, people are probably playing it already. But that's the one kind of like iffy news. But for people that play any mobile games, when they reach a certain level of AAA in the mobile space, like the internet is a standard. Like that's just something that happens, and it's a phone, so you have your internet. So it's really a detriment when you are on planes and stuff, which granted, that's a pretty big detriment to people like us, but I think to the majority of people, not that big of a deal. But I will give them credit for their entire marketing campaign, their like logo redesigned to look more like it used to be, and like just everything so far with the Switch, they're nailing it. Which means that the whole first half of the year really fucking sucked. I feel like there was a lot of mistakes made in terms of their games. Star Fox Zero comes to mind. They pretty much were like, fuck, we need to make sure that we have something happening on the Wii U because the NX is so far out at that point. And they took a franchise that I love and they really shat on it in a way that they haven't done for a very long time. Like Nintendo, even with the Wii U, like the one thing they did right was treat their franchises with respect and make awesome games that are at a very high polish level. And Star Fox Zero was the complete opposite of that. And it was bullshit. It was a bad game. And it's not hard to nail Star Fox, and yet they fucked it up because they added all the gyro controls and stuff, and they tried to sell the Wii U way too late. It's like they should have gave up on that a long time ago. So it was insulting, to say the least. And I think
But you knew it was coming.
Yeah, and that was the other.
That was a
problem,
more
too.
insulting thing, right? That like, I mean, how many demos did they need of people saying we don't want to control like this and this doesn't look great? I mean,
yeah, and then
the writing was on the wall before the game got even remotely close.
There was a lot of issues with that, and then other things like, and this is more recent, but it still is in what I was talking about, the trend of them switching over in that weird place from Wii U 3DS over to Switch is things like Super Mario Maker 3DS. Fucking awesome game. I've been playing the hell out of it the last couple of weeks, and it's great. But it's super limited. And why can't I download levels that I'm specifically looking for from the internet and like made in the Wii U version? And it seems super backwards, and it's an obvious, hey, there's going to be a Switch version and it's going to be definitive. And like that's again insulting in a lot of ways to people that have invested in these consoles. So it's I think those are big mistakes. The biggest mistake being NES Classic. The shortage of it and the shortage of the cable. Why is it so fucking short? And it's like, those are the type of decisions where it's like, man, the NES Classic was, I'd say, one of the first steps in the right direction for Nintendo, where it's like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. It came out of nowhere. No one expected it. Everybody wants it. And then they still fucked it up.
Yeah, I think 2016 is a tale of two Nintendos where, even though they were only semantically involved in it in Pokemon Go, right? This big phenomenon that's tied into Nintendo. Unless you're a nerd, you don't know that Nintendo doesn't own this stuff or doesn't make this game. No one gives a fuck, you know. So this is good. This is good for them, and they make money on it too. So there's like that kind of stuff. They're foray into mobile with Miitomo and now with Super Mario Run and all these kinds of things. These are positive steps for their brand. The announcement of the Switch is a very positive step for the brand. I think it's going to be successful in its own way. I think people have to limit their expectations of how this thing is not going to sell like a PS4 and Xbox One, but it's going to be successful. It's going to be more successful than the Wii U. And their theme park kind of cooperatives and all those kinds of things where I'm like, there's positive things happening. But I agree, the NES Mini, or whatever the fuck it's called, is one of those things where I'm like, how do you guys not get it? How did this thing sit in prototype form on people's desks and in offices for months, and you guys didn't understand that cord needs to be fixed? What is wrong with you? Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, this is so insane that when I found that out when we got ours, and I was like, how is this possible? Everything is great, but why is it like this? And then, I went home for Thanksgiving and I was playing with my brother and his son, and we were playing NES and SNES games. The Nintendo cord, the original Nintendo cord's controller is fucking massive. I don't even remember it being that long. And I'm like, sitting far away from the television, very comfortably. And so I'm like, you guys made this cord so short, to save some money in manufacturing or whatever? Like, it's a tone deaf kind of thing. And I was actually shocked by the reviews, like the positivity that the device was getting after this, because I'm like, this breaks this experience. When I had it at my house sitting, I had to get an extra HDMI cable, extra long HDMI cable, sit it on the coffee table, move the coffee table towards me and the couch forward at Erin's house just to be able to play it like this. And I'm like, I can't imagine what people in more normal, and she lives in a small apartment. What are people in normal living rooms doing with this thing? So you're right. And it also is the understocked nature of it. You're making a device from the 80s. Like, it's not this like PSVR shortages are happening because they're having a hard time with the OLED screens or whatever, apparently. And like they're having problems with specific parts of the VR that's not allowing them to meet demand. There's no excuse for them not to meet demand with this thing. Like someone either fucked up monumentally or they're doing it on purpose. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was the latter, because they always
say with
do
their
that
track
shit.
record, it's probably on purpose.
And it's so stupid. You know, like just sell that. It's a $60 device that people want and are eager for, and you're killing it. You know, like you're killing the momentum. You're destroying the momentum. The controller should have been wireless, first of all. And since it's not, you should have made a longer cord. And then make enough for them so you satiate a market. It's not a Wii. It's not a $250 or $300 machine. It's a cheap machine. It's a stocking stuffer for a lot of people. And so it is a tale of two Nintendos, where I think in a lot of ways Nintendo is coming back to form, because the Wii U was an abject failure, and I think everyone knows that. And it's not that the games were bad. It's just that the machine was not good. And but on the other end, it's like they're still making stupid mistakes. And the only thing I'm concerned about with them moving into March is they are sure as shit hiding things about the Switch, which is smart. But I'm sure that there are things that are not going to be good about the Switch that are going to come out slowly. And I hope that they take the advice that I gave them. You know, not that they need my advice, but that I gave a month or so ago, where I'm like, get this shit out now. Like, don't do what Sony did to the Vita.
See, I'm really, really hopeful at this point with the amount of rumors that have come out that ended up being true, and with those people putting out further rumors that still sound good. And I'm like, I trust these people at this point. And it's like, I don't know what could be horrible that they put out. I think that the one thing that, because so far price and battery life, all the rumors seem to be pointing towards way better than I expected.
Battery life's 4 to 6 now is what they're saying, 4 to 6 hours?
I mean, there's so many different rumors that talking about it, but I mean, none of them are saying that it's
hour
2
and a half.
Yeah. Like everything's, some are 4 to 6, some are saying 5 to 8, which is equivalent to the 3DS XL. So like that, there's some things where I'm like, I don't expect that. I don't think that we should be up there, but it's like, I'm happy that the rumors are not what you'd expect, which would be the 1 to 3.
Bad
right?
news bears, yeah.
Yeah, that's the bad news. And then all the other stuff, I think that the trophy system and all that, like that's the one set of bad news that could happen. But like, I think that is the least of Nintendo's problems when it comes to that stuff. Like all the virtual console rumors so far sound fantastic. The GameCube stuff, the lineup that is rumored to be out there with Smash Bros. Melee, Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario Sunshine, like these are all signs of Nintendo moving in a good direction. So like, I don't know what the bad news is going to be.
Well, it couldn't be like,
it's not there.
How can it? I mean, I think that people are asking questions that are technically above my understanding of technology, but specifically like, how can a 4 to 6 hour battery life, $250, $300 device pay 1080p games? Or how can?
Well, it wouldn't. So that's the thing. Is like the rumors are 720p on the device and then 1080 on a TV. So if it's in the TV, then it's not, the battery life's not a thing because it's plugged in.
I just think that resolution thing's gonna be an issue. I mean, the like
portable?
Yeah. Like people
720 is fine. If people have an issue with that, realize Xbox One games, like a lot of them are
900.
in that 900 thing. So it's like 720 on a portable on a screen this big, you're gonna be fine.
All I'm saying is I don't know about that, because that's fine for me. I don't give a flying fuck. I don't even know the difference between 720 and 1080 when I look at it. I don't care. You know, like that's not. And I think most people are like that. But the people that bitch about things and the people that have power, I think, to affect
sales,
not sales so much, but like feeling,
opinion.
Yeah, opinion. That's
opinion.
a good. Yeah, like. They were bitching about 900p Xbox One games on a TV in 2013. Like 2017, there's just going to be different expectations. And I think that anything that can be perceived as negative, even though I don't think 720 even on a TV is negative for the machines, I don't think it matters for the quality of the game that you're playing. They have to get these things out early, because sure as shit, that's going to be a bitching point. I mean, it is, you know.
As somebody that really does care about that type of stuff, and I like having as high quality experiences as possible, like I refuse to buy the new version of the PlayStation Vita. When I bought one, I made sure I bought one on eBay to get the OLED because I like that stuff. I care about that stuff. When it comes to Nintendo, they have a history of nailing it when it comes to that sort of stuff for what their specific games need. Even on the Wii U, there was a ton of games that were 1080 60 when it made sense, or other games are 720, but it's like, all right, the art style and all that stuff makes up for it. And like, yeah, we're getting to a point where there are going to be people that are like, what the fuck? This isn't 4K, but it's like, you guys, you are such a minority on that it doesn't matter. I think if the system for some reason is topped out at 720 on a TV, then we have a fucking problem. But all the rumors say that's not going to happen. And I think that's the type of bad news that even that I don't think would affect things too much. But that would affect things to people like me, where it's like that means that the system would be worse off resolution wise than the Wii U. And I'm like, I don't see them on a TV, and I don't see them doing that. But 720 on a portable, totally fine.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that on
Yeah,
TV
I can't
too.
wait.
I don't care.
And I think that'll keep the battery life to be good.
I'm pretty bullish on the prospects of the Switch. So
It seems like it's all going to work out in a very, very
there will be
very
bad
impressive
news.
fashion.
There will be
of
bad
course,
news.
there's bad news with everything.
The
but
launch lineup might be the bad news too. We'll see how that all shapes up. As long as the Mario game's there or something like that, I'll be
that Mario game's there, holy shit.
I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll be excited. And yeah, the trophy system I'll be interested in as well.
Yeah, so that's all exciting. I think with the NES Classic, it's one of those things where I feel like Nintendo just wanted to have a stuff for the holidays, which is why. So Pokemon Sun and Moon obviously doing super well. Mario Maker 3DS is totally just hey, we need a Mario game for the holidays. I think the NES Classic was there. And I think the shortage is on purpose in a way just to be like, we want to have the hot ticket item of the holidays. And they totally do. Like, I have so many people hitting me up, like messaging me like, hey, is there any way do you have any connections to get an NES Classic? I'm like, Mike, why do you want it? Like, you really, out of like all things, like, and they want to buy their nephews it and like their friends and cousins and all this shit. I'm like, all right. But I think that that's why there's the shortage there, because it is totally an artificial thing just to make it sound like Nintendo's fucking in demand.
Sure.
Which is a bad call overall, I think, but that's us as critics of video games, and we are looking at it for the good of the people. But from a business perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially going into the January 12th Switch announcement or Switch presentation.
You figure the
launch.
ABC whatever news it writes itself, right? Of like the hardest thing to get this year is the Nintendo
Nintendo
thing. Well, this is
Exactly.
leading into the Nintendo Switch. They're having an event in January and it's coming out in
Yeah.
March. Yeah.
Now the short cable, I have no idea. My theory on it, and this is not backed up by anything, and it doesn't even really make sense, but that they have a bunch of leftover cords from the nunchuck to the Wiimote, and that's why it uses that connector. Because it's fucking weird that in addition to the cord being so short, why does the NES controller not use USB? Like, we know the Switch has USB. That would be awesome to have an NES controller over there. So
Well, they'll probably sell you some.
I was
going
gonna say sell you another adapter, sell you another controller.
that's just weird.
Yeah,
That seems like a backwards Nintendo move, because like
Sure,
so far it seems
sure.
like they're moving in a good direction, and we need to move off the Wiimote. Like, honestly, to me, the bad news for the Switch would be if the Wiimote is a thing. If that weird connector and the proprietary bullshit, that would be like, oh man, Nintendo has not learned, and there's way too much bullshit.
I'll go further. And I mean, we said this. I know we disagree specifically because of one game, but no GameCube controller either on the Switch. I think would be good.
Oh, I think at this point, now that there's GameCube Virtual Console, the GameCube controller is
I just hate that
necessity.
I just hate that this control. I mean, I want to be clear that the GameCube controller is my favorite controller of all time. I love that controller. There's no more ergonomic. The way that I think just the specific size of my hands or whatever, I don't know if everyone agrees. It's perfect. That controller is perfect. And but I hate this reliance on old things just to support a game. Now, if GameCube's Virtual Console becomes a thing and they want to do that, then that's cool, I guess, to have the support. But you should make a controller that is ubiquitous, that people don't have to go and buy all these peripherals and have all these confusing things. Because if having a Wiimote's confusing, then why would having a GameCube controller?
Because the
not be
Wiimote
confusing?
sucks, that's why.
It does. I mean, I like it sideways, but
But do you like it as much as an NES controller?
no. Although I will say that when I was playing with my nephew NES games, I was remarking that I haven't really played with an NES controller much in the recent years, and that I'm so used to playing with the Wiimote that it felt weird to play with an NES controller. Like, just the specific tilt and bend of the controller is just took time for me to get used to again. But it's like riding a bike. It's not really the end of the world. I want them to move forward. Like, Nintendo's over reliance on old things is fun, and I like old things. The NES is my favorite console of all time. It's always going to be. But I want to see a new Nintendo try new things and get rid of like these tethers to the past, because I think that that's kind of what's figuratively holding them back as well. Like the expectations of like, well, when they make another console after the Switch, if they make another one, is that also going to support the controller from 2001? You know, like when eventually do you just say like, because at that point it'll be like 20 years later. You know, and I'm like, at that point, it's like, come on, guys. Like, just
People
let
are
it
still
go.
playing Smash Bros. Melee 20 years later, though. That's the thing. Is like that's the game that, you know, and them trying to support the esports scene and all that. People aren't going to play with the whatever controller
They
want.
won't if you
your
don't.
Joy-Cons?
You won't if you don't force people to learn new ways to play. So that's my only complaint. But of course, it doesn't affect me because I don't play Smash Brothers.
You do. King Day today.
Besides NES stuff,
year and a half.
Titanfall 2's release date. I think definitely one of the biggest mistakes of 2016. Putting that game out to die. Many people loved it. Some people thought it was okay. But it's undeniable that it got released at a very bad time.
Of course, yeah, going up against Battlefield right there, Call of Duty on the horizon. It's a weird thing to do, and it feels like that's a game like we've talked about it, and not to beat the dead horse, that you could have put out in spring and had a better shot, given it a chance to breathe. And why they felt they had to do it right now, I don't know. And it's another one, you know, we've talked about this before, of like them trying to make this universe out of it, right? Where there's action figures and t-shirts and all this stuff. And it's like Titanfall 1, I understood the lead up to that, doing all that, because it was this big game for Xbox One. It was the first reason people needed to have it. I played it. I loved it. I left really quick because there wasn't enough to keep me around. And that's, I mean, you talk to Alfredo, who's Mr. First Person Shooter, who was playing competitive Titanfall. He left too. And that's just how that community went. And it never saw that revival. And so I think that a lot of people got it in their head that what was wrong with Titanfall 1 was there had been a vocal minority or even a majority that was talking about single player, and that's what it needed. And that's what it needed to rest its hat on. And they put it in there. And like Colin always says, we got Gen 2 multiplayer, but we get Gen 1 single player with Titanfall 1 that can't compare or can't compete with what's happening. And this is my opinion. This is where you're talking about like people, something gets okay. I like Titanfall 2. I enjoyed the single player. I don't think the single player was head and shoulders above everything. Like everybody kept
Majority of
tweeting
people
about.
seem to think that, though.
It's a little, and this is a different thing entirely, because I played and beat the campaigns for Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Infinite Warfare back to back to back. And I know people think it's unpopular, but I just think it's popular to hate on Call of Duty, and I don't see in any way, shape, or form how Titanfall 2's campaign is better than Infinite Warfare's. Like that, like I just don't see it. But the sadder thing about Titanfall 2 is it is just an unforced error. I understand what I think they were trying to do, and I don't know that they would ever admit it. And I think that they were trying to do is to just fuck Activision from two angles instead of one. And I understand that that's what they were trying to do, but they at the same time they sacrificed a game that didn't. Because this is the confusion about when you and I talk about Titanfall 2. I think Titanfall 2 is great.
Yeah.
It's just that there are two other better shooters that came out within weeks of it, and that's just the unfortunate reality of the situation. And the market spoke. So people can argue about that until they're blue in the face, and that's fine. And I respect people's different opinions, but the market spoke. Both of those other games sold way better than Titanfall 2. So EA made a strategic error because Titanfall 2 wasn't a throwaway game that they just had to get out. And my assumption is that they either had some sort of financial thing that they had to get it out before the end of the quarter or the end of the year or whatever, or that they didn't want to pay Respawn X and Y and Z when they wanted the entire team to migrate over to whatever, Star Wars. Or, like I said, I think the idea was to just pincer Activision by trying to whittle down its sales as much as possible to make it look bad in the market. And to do that, it might have worked because Call of Duty sales seem to be down about 20 or 25%. But the thing is, Activision anticipated this because it's Infinity Ward's turn, and they're just not as beloved anymore as they used to be. Treyarch is really the king of the hill in that regard. And they took a franchise that could have been fledgling, could have done something. Titanfall 2 sales were demonstrably worse than Titanfall's, the original Titanfalls, and it's on more consoles. So, you know, when we're talking about specifically the UK sales and the way it charted in the UK and comparing it's like 50% or something like that, which is terrible. A 50% fall off or even a 20% or a 30% fall off on a sequel, when you expect sequels to usually sell better historically in video games, or at least attract people to the old game and then get into the new game, means that there will be no Titanfall 3. And they didn't have to do that. And I think it's sad. The EA has the money and Respawn has the wherewithal and the next project to have just held that game and just sat on it. And I don't understand why they didn't just release it in February or March and give it room to breathe. Because although there are shooters always coming out, but Call of Duty and Battlefield are the kings of the genre, and you just want to stay away from them. You're not going to win that fight. You didn't win that fight. And hopefully, again, instructively, what we were talking about with No Man's Sky, I hope publishers, specifically EA and Patrick Sutherland and all those guys, look at this and be like, we made a huge fucking mistake. And we can't do that again. And because in my mind, it's the 4th best shooter of the year. It didn't even need, Doom is also a better game. So it didn't need to be released like that. And I think it's sad, not because I care about, or I know people at Respawn or anything like that, but just because they made a game that deserved better sales and better recognition than it got.
It deserved a chance to live.
And so I think that's a massive mistake, and Activision's probably laughing about it. Like we knew, we're still selling more than Battlefield and your Titanfall combined, and when you really didn't damage us that much. And I think that was probably the intent, but I don't know that they'd ever admit that. And who the fuck really knows?
Another huge mistake I thought was the PlayStation 4 Pro conference itself.
I'll go further and say I think the huge mistake was the PlayStation 4 Pro messaging stem to stern. Not the console itself, not even bringing that into the fray yet, but the way the information leaked out about this, developers talking about it at GDC, people writing about it, there was going to be this thing, and then Sony letting it build and build and build to where we're sitting there talking about what this machine could be, and is it going to be this interstitial step, and what is it going to be, blah, blah. And then Andrew House coming out and giving a weird throwaway comment leading into E3 at like Business Week or whatever the hell it was, and being like, nah, don't worry about it, it's this, that, and the other. So already pulling the rug out from underneath it where it doesn't sound exciting because Andrew House isn't excited about it, and they're not going to talk about it at E3 when they're supposed to talk about their exciting stuff. At E3, Xbox Scorpio video happens. It's got all the fucking flops, and developers are talking positively. It's the first time we've heard about this machine, and people are excited about it, versus developers who don't know what they're doing, rumors of them not being excited to have it, and this Andrew House, all right, fine. Then, all right, fine. No. We're going to do a conference. We're going to do this conference for it. It looks and sounds like the PlayStation 4 reveal event. We get there. It is 100% not. It is trying to match that beat for beat, but it is off from the very beginning. It isn't exciting. This is an interstitial upgrade. This isn't life changing. This is not PlayStation 4 ecosystem changing. This should have been a release. This should have been a PlayStation blog post. Hey, we're putting the PlayStation 4 you know and love is getting a slim model. It's getting this price, and we have this PlayStation Pro model that's going to give you 4K HD visuals. People would have seen that and been like, oh, that's cool. All right, fine, that's great. And instead, it was this thing that tore apart of usually tight-knit PlayStation community of people who were like, well, that's stupid. And then everybody was like, this is awesome. And then this huge thing going. And then not only that, I checked my phone a second ago because I wanted to reread an email from a developer. Not only that, you are then to the point now that it's been out. It's been out for months. Then now what I usually hear about this from the audience or people want to tweet to me about it who are confused by it is that it's super confusing what patches are doing. Oh, it's PlayStation 4 Pro enabled. All right, cool. But what does that mean? They have to dig into settings to figure out where they're going or what this is. Sometimes it's just in patch notes. Nobody knows exactly what's happening. And then I have an email from a developer recently who hit us up with their game and had to give us a whole paragraph of like, if this is happening on your PlayStation 4 Pro, we don't know. We don't know why that's happening. Sony has checked the game for us, and it's happening. If you play it on a PlayStation 4, it's fine. PlayStation 4, this might happen to you. We're looking into it, but we don't know. That is a fucking email a developer gave us when delivering their game. So, and that's not unheard of. How many games, and not fucking mounds and mounds of them, but there's been other stories of other games that are on PlayStation 4 Pro and running worse than PlayStation 4.
Yeah, and developers that have spoken to us that are not crazy about it, whether or not people want to discount it or not. It happened. And it is somewhat unheard of for a console developer to come and say, like, we don't know what the problem is. I've never actually really heard that before, because now these guys are splitting their attention. Here's the thing about PS4 Pro is that it clearly didn't light the world on fire. Everyone knows that. But the bigger thing is that it just, and I stand by this 100%, just unnecessary. It's just totally unnecessary. And I'm glad that people are enjoying it and their 4K TVs and HDR. That's totally awesome. I don't think it's unnecessary because it can't do cool things that makes the game better or makes it run in a higher fidelity or whatever the case may be. I think it's unnecessary because Sony should have just sat on whatever they were doing and just released the PlayStation 5 in a couple of years. And now you have this weird console interstitial that is confusing at best and unnecessary at worst. And I agree with you. The stem to stern thing, where it's like all of it's confusing, none of it makes any sense, and that says everything you need to know about how intuitive the market's going to think the machine is as well.
If they would have just done the blog post, right, or the press release, and it was something that was inactive for developers, I feel like it would be a different story. We wouldn't be like this. It's cool, it's there, and when my PlayStation 4 breaks, blah, I can get it. And that's what I keep going back to. It didn't set the world on fire. I still don't think they expected it to necessarily. I think what it was is, hey, you already own a PlayStation 4, which means you weren't going to buy a PlayStation 4 any fucking time soon. So Mike Drucker, all these other people on Twitter I see, even you, Tim, you're like, I'm going to get one now. I'm going to put money into something I wasn't putting money in. And then, like I keep talking about it, when my jet engine PS4s die, I'm going to pick up a Pro, sure.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like going into it, I was from the beginning, like back when the Neo rumors were going on, I was saying this is not going to be the PlayStation 4.5, whatever. This is going to be the equivalent to a Slim, to a whatever. It's just going to be an iteration. And I think that the reason it's where it's at is because 4K TVs are now the standard of what you're buying. Anyone buying a TV now, you're buying a 4K TV. You're not buying a 1080 TV. It's just it's almost impossible to get one at Best Buy or any place you're buying a TV. Like you have to go out of your way to get a lesser quality TV at this point. And that Sony needed to be able to stand up to when Xbox One S is having HDR and having all these things, the buzzwords. And I just think the major mistake was the conference. I think that the system itself is fine. It's great. I'm super excited for mine. Like I bought a 4K TV to be able to have this stuff because I care about that shit. So I'm like, cool. Is it necessary? No. Want it though.
No, and I hear you, and that's the whole thing is, I mean, like what Colin and I always talk about. If you want it, great, you go get it. And if I had a 4K TV, maybe I wouldn't and all that stuff. But it's I want to say classic Sony because we've covered them for so long. This next year is going to be a decade for me covering PlayStation, and they weren't making these missteps where it's like, all right, cool. We're launching PlayStation VR. This is for the hardcore audience. This is for the PlayStation 4 kids. Great. Sure. We're launching PlayStation Pro. I'm not jazzed to join you on that journey, but so many of the audience and people were in the PlayStation community. They were excited for that. And they get it home, and there isn't a 4K or whatever it is pass through for the VR unit. Where you can't, if you have it set up where your VR is connected all the time, going into that box to get the most out of your PlayStation 4 Pro, you have to unplug the HDMI and put it back into your console. And then when you want to use VR, go over and back unplug. It's like these are two high-end boutique niche items, and we didn't think to make them work on that level. And if you can't, then why do this? You know what I mean?
Because it was totally that's the thing is, like, regardless of the fidelity of the machine, I'm sure it's great. There are people that like it. I'm sure that it's going to make games look better. Horizon Zero Dawn is going to look great on it. All that. That's all fantastic. My whole thing is, like, if Sony is going to pick up the gun and shoot it, then fucking cock the gun and shoot it at someone's head, as opposed to like shooting it in the air and hoping you hit something. Half cocked. It doesn't make any sense. Like the whole messaging, the whole marketing, the whole the lack of connectivity between the devices that they're selling right now. All those kinds of things. It all doesn't make any sense. So it sells the device at a short shrift because the device very well may be great, but no one's gonna, or a few people are gonna know because all the messaging is skewed and everything's awry. Meanwhile, I would have been interested to see like a proper Sony push on this machine to see how the market really does react to it, because we're never really gonna know because of all the fuck ups about how the market in a vacuum, in a perfect world, would really want this machine. In other words, it was a great idea to at least try something, just throw it out there. We were talking about on the Game Over Greggy show about how Amazon just invested all this shit that they don't even really care about to see if anyone cares, like their phone and their tablet and all this kind of stuff. Well, put it out there and see what people think of it, but do it with a little more heart. You know what I mean? Like, because now we don't really know.
To be clear, sorry to fact check myself, because again, this is all German to me. I don't care about any of this. It doesn't matter. It's not why I play games. It's PSVR will pass through 4K, but not HDR to the 4K TV.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's just another.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. HDR is still so early in its infancy of, compatibility with everything. And I feel like even just that technology itself is still figuring out. So it's like adding consoles and VR and all this stuff to that. Like there's going to be a lot of issues. There's going to be mistakes. And that's why I'm excited. For me, it's investing in wanting the best quality experience for games like Horizon. There's going to be a lot of issues right now because these games weren't made with all that stuff in mind. Horizon is being made. Horizon is the flagship title for the HDR PS4 Pro experience. And that's why I'm excited for that. Final Fantasy 15, supposedly, like the patch is going to be coming and that's going to make it a lot better and do all that stuff. And I'm excited for that. But that's going to have issues as well because you're patching it into a game, whereas these other games are being made from the ground up for it. But for me, again, I think the mistake was the conference. I think that they shouldn't have had a conference. It should have just been a press release, and I think that they should have let the media kind of tell people why this is important. That would have been a perfect thing to have a blog post or whatever of, hey, here's this thing, similar to the Xbox One S, which that was revealed at E3, but just in a trailer form, almost as an afterthought of, oh, this is a thing. Here's our slim model.
Slimmer, cheaper,
right?
Go.
Cool. PlayStation 4 Pro, they could have done the exact same thing. Don't call it slim, obviously, but just PlayStation 4 Pro, here, it's $400. Here's what it does. You want it or you don't want it, and then let IGN do the graphics comparison videos and put out the things of, look, this is 4K video that you can watch, and that's how the game's going to look if you have a 4K screen. Because us watching on these TVs is not going to do it justice when we watch this conference of them showing the shit because we're not seeing it in 4K. So, yeah, no shit, we didn't like the conference because we were watching it wrong. But that's their problem and our problem because they shouldn't have even said that. They should have let other people say it. And I think that was a really big issue because then it just causes problems with everybody expecting way too fucking much from this thing when it's just a boutique item for the people that want it.
That's true. I will say that I do disagree with one thing you said, which is like they can put it out there, and if you want it, you want it. And if you don't, you don't. Like, that's not good marketing. You know, like to me, no, it's not, because if they don't care that I want it, then why would I want it?
But like, I mean, that's how they've handled it so far too.
It doesn't make any sense. Like that. Like to me, it's like, you tell me why I want it. Like that's why I think that, you know, it is incumbent on them. You're right, for them to say like, this is the device we're working on, and like I really do believe internally that like they don't really believe in it, like because they act like they don't believe in it.
But I think,
and that's
so what I'm saying, and to be clear, I think that they are standing behind it the right way with games like Horizon, where it's like that they are doing that big push for them. They believe in it in that sense. They don't believe it in the sense of all this other stuff, and it is more if you want it, you want it. That's what I'm saying. It's like for Final Fantasy 15, it's if you want it, you want it. For Horizon, it's like I want the premium experience, and that's what that's going to be, and they're going to stand behind that more then. I know they're going to.
I hope so.
And I think that now they stood behind it too much with the conference. That's why I think the press release is better, because that's showing how much they stand behind it. This is a product. Obviously, it's official. But
I think they felt like they needed to do that. I think we're not a fly on the wall at Sony, and I'm not super familiar with their hardware people anymore, so it's not like I'm having conversations with these folks, but I just don't get I get that this was very experimental. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's an experimental move that no one's ever done in the console space to this extent. And so you have to do more than just shit it out. Like otherwise you're not getting, otherwise the reaction you're gauging to it isn't really a pure reaction. It's a reaction based on like your very laissez-faire fucking marketing and your very hands-off approach to it. And I just don't, that's why I really do believe, and I mean, it would have required number crunching and it probably would have been a huge lift, is if I think it would have been the most effective if they had to do this to be like, this is the PS4. You know, like we're not selling the old PS4 anymore. And this is it. And I think that would have been way more compelling, because it'd been like, holy shit, like that would have caused some sort of fracture of civil war that already happened anyway. So you might as well have just been like, we believe in this so much that this is the machine. And if you want to upgrade, that's great. And if you don't, it's all your games will work in perpetuity on PS4, but this is the machine moving forward. I think that would have been like a very heavy lift, and it would have been like, we believe in this idea. Instead, like, I think that you can't really garner much out of it, because it's just not, it's not being treated. It's being treated like it's over there, you know. And I don't think that that's an effective way. It's the same thing they're doing with PSVR, although they're doing that for different reasons, because they don't have supply to sell, so they're not marketing it. They're not wasting money, but. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad the PS Pro's out there. People seem to enjoy it, and I think that's great. And I don't understand all the technical stuff anyway, so I'm never going to pretend like I do. But I will always take issue with the way it was rolled out, and Sony's done so many good things, and I think they've rebounded very well with PSX in particular, that you want them to be able to understand. It's almost one of those things where I'm like, I don't think that they understand or have a cohesive message internally that they can then send out to everyone else about the machine. And I think that played out. I think that the evidence is everywhere, you know? It's
the normal struggle too, I think. And I think that when you right now compare PlayStation 4 Pro, right, and our feelings on it versus the Switch, right? For me, it's very similar to when it was PlayStation 3 versus the Wii, where it was like PlayStation 3 and I'm like, I don't have an HDTV and I don't have high-speed internet, but this is a new way to play games. That's what I love, games. I'm excited about that. I want to go do that. My games being prettier, like I'm in the same boat as Colin or you and Colin or whoever. I mean, I was just like, okay, the Switch is gonna be 720 when I take it away from the dock. I don't fucking care. I'm gonna be fucking playing a real Zelda on the plane. I'm gonna be playing a real Mario on the plane. I'm gonna be able to play Skyrim on the plane. If they put fucking Mass Effect Andromeda on that thing and dial the graphics down, but it still runs on, it'd be a real struggle to me of like, well, fuck, I can take it with me anywhere. I can take this with. That's what gets me excited, not fucking HDR, none of these other crap.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I guess I differ just in the sense that I agree with you about like the Nintendo systems being different and like they are gameplay focused and whatever. But like on the PlayStation, it's like I do like with games like Uncharted and stuff, I play those games for their cinematic beauty and stuff. And I think that
but I still think like Uncharted 4 is beautiful.
It is, but like I if I know that there's a more premium, like a better version of it, I want that. Like that game is designed to be a technical behemoth, and it's like I want to experience that the way that it should be experienced, in a way that Nintendo, I feel like those games are meant to be experienced this way, and that's why the Switch is very exciting to me. I love Nintendo games. Everybody knows that. Like I think that Nintendo is great at having graphics that are good enough because their art styles are amazing, and it translates that. That doesn't translate to Horizon or Uncharted or.
But I don't think that. I mean, that is the difference going to be that drastic?
I mean,
this is like Tomb Raider when they were like, "Oh, on the PC version, watch her hair bob around." I'm like, why the fuck would I care?
Because I think it adds to the experience. Like especially a lot of these games, like the gameplay's fine. The gameplay's great, but the gameplay's not why those games are amazing. The gameplay just is part of the whole experience. I think that the experience is the narrative, the story, the immersiveness, all this stuff. And that stuff, it really does add. And when it comes to the home console space, I want a fucking awesome home console. If there's a better one out there, I want the better one.
Okay.
This goes back to the couple generations ago of when there was multi-platform games. It's like I wanted to play a bunch of them on Xbox, even though PS2 was my console of choice, because they looked better on Xbox, you know?
I hear you. I just feel like right now when I do see comparisons at PSX, you know, I left the Sony Lounge, which I think we're playing on Model and Pros, and I went to the Pro thing and was talking to some of the guys there who knew us, and we're walking around. I'm like, yeah, this looks really good. Infamous Second Son never looked bad, or maybe it was First Light they were playing, but it was just like, cool, awesome. The jump, I think, is like we're talking about it like we're comparing PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 and what that jump will be like or how that'll work, because it'll be so much more horsepower under the hood and this, that, and the other, and teraflops and shit I don't know about either. It's like, whatever, cool. It's just, I think we're just different gamers in the way of like, and don't get me wrong, when my PlayStation 4 dies, I will buy a PlayStation 4 Pro.
I probably will too, just because it's like, why, you know,
why would I want the better experience when I'm investing the money, but I'm not going to invest the money for no reason. I can't justify that in my head when the games look good enough already.
I think that the company that benefited most from Pro's launch is Microsoft, because I think that they, you know, we've talked about how I hope that Sony, in the outside chance that they release a new handheld, for instance, will look at how the Switch is received and see if that's a market worth playing in, because I think that the market's ceded entirely to Nintendo, and so if you see a vibrant kind of resurgence in handheld gaming, then you want to go back there and compete because money can be made there, and that's what a rational business would do. I think Microsoft looks at this situation and is like, well, we see exactly what we don't do with Scorpio. Like, we have to have a meteor machine, which they're going to. We have to We have to have clear messaging and educate people over, I think, a longer period of time. We can't be cagey about it and weird. I think Phil Spencer and those guys have learned way more about what to do with Scorpio by watching PS4 Pro than they could have ever learned in a fucking boardroom with hypotheticals. And I think that's an exciting prospect, I think, for them, because I will say we're talking about all these bad things that have happened because that is the topic, but I think that the company that had the best year is Microsoft. And because just, you know, there are mistakes being made, games being delayed, things not being delivered, but they're quiet. They are delivering.
They're putting out games,
and they are learning, and they're closing the gap. They're never going to close it completely. The generation is lost for them. But I've been very impressed with their studious approach and their quiet approach to just making things better. Backwards compatibility has 300 games on it now, which is insane. You know, I really liked that boutique controller thing they did. I see pictures of those controllers all the time. Not only the Elite, but the customizable controllers. They're fucking awesome. And I love the Xbox One controller. I think it's great. And their games are coming out. Gears of War 4 was fun. More games in the future, and we'll see.
Dead Rising 4 is fun.
And people love Forza Horizon 3. Yeah.
So, which is what I was saying on PS I Love You, where I'm like, we're talking about Gran Turismo Sport and stuff, and I'm like, I just don't think it matters that much anymore. Like, it still matters. It's still going to sell millions of copies, but it doesn't, you know, if Gran Turismo 6 was any indication, and it's kind of tepid sales as opposed to Gran Turismo 5, which was PS3's best-selling exclusive. You know, the things have shifted in Microsoft's direction in some ways that I think are demonstrable and obvious, and so I'm excited about, you know, to watch what they do in the new year. The one thing I want to add to the list is PSVR, which I think Sony kind of fumbled as well
by not having enough units.
Yeah. I was telling Greg on Colin and Greg Live this morning that someone had sent me a story that I had read, basically saying PSVR has actually outsold Oculus and Vive, but they're not marketing it because they're having production problems, and the demand is simply overwhelming supply, which is a good problem for them.
That's so interesting. But I see it every store I go into. There's like 3 or 4 of them.
Really? I don't look for sure. Yeah. Next time you do that, call me, because there was a couple friends online who were like, I need one.
Target and Best Buy definitely have them. like near Daly City.
I don't think it's a road trip because you're just going to Target. It's 10 minutes away. Kevin.
Road trip, Kevin.
But yeah, like I feel like it's disappointing for me to hear that because I'm such a believer in PSVR. I'm so glad that it's outstripping its competitors because I think it's the most accessible, and I think that Lauren Lanning told us a long time ago he thought PSVR would easily win, and he's right. But it's disappointing to hear the downgrade in sales expectations, seemingly coming from the fact that people cannot find them. And I wish that, and apparently the production problem has to do with the lenses. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I read. And that Sony obviously didn't anticipate this. But it's disappointing because they had a little bit of momentum in October and we're simply not able to capitalize on it. They've only sold apparently 800,000 of them worldwide, which is, I'm sure they're fucking thrilled with, but because I think that they're anticipating, they wanted like 1 million in the first 3 months or something like that, which is great, but they could have done better and they could have done more. And it's similar to Nintendo's thing with the NES Mini, not to the extent because it's not as big of a device, but it's an important device for the PlayStation Hardcore, and it's a game-changing device and a paradigm-shifting device that I think that they should have anticipated was going to do better. And if they really did believe in it, they should have gone more to manufacture more of them, even if they were going to sit on shelves, because that's the only way you're going to proliferate the machine. They're not playing the artificial scarcity game; they really don't have any, and I think that that's not good. Going into the holiday season because they're going to lose with Switch coming out. That's going to be the next big thing, and PSVR is always going to exist and it's going to percolate over here. But why not have taken more advantage of it?
People are ready to spend money going into the holidays.
That's the dark horse fucked up thing that happened this year. I think is Sony's inability to. They could have sold twice as many of them probably.
The last one I want to add is Ubisoft's E3 press conference. It was way too long, and I don't understand. In a year where E3 conferences were just so amazing and they just fucking nailed it, and we're at a point where hopefully next year is even better. Like the last couple of years just being better. This was a step back for Ubisoft. They put way too many games in way too long of a time. It was just
they spent too long
focus on a couple things, get in, get out, cool, but they didn't do that. And
here's me talking about the game, here's some gameplay, here's a video about the game, let's play more of the game and talk about the game. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop doing that. No. And we're not at all educated enough to talk about it, but while you bring up Ubisoft Division, Alfredo talked about that, right? Of like how the latest patch fixed a whole bunch of shit, but it was broken for a while. And
long time,
they kind of went away to fix it and come back and figure out, like, sorry about all the things that were going wrong with the new content. Here you go.
Yes. Topic 3. I want to talk about 2017 video game release dates. So over on US Gamer,
shout out to Jeremy Parrish,
my dude Mike Williams came up with a list of all the games that officially, as of today, have a release date in 2017. I want to go through them, and I want to, talk about what we're excited for, what we're not excited for, what we think will get delayed. And
gotcha.
Is the other big one. And if there's things that we think will slip into these months. So in January, Hatsune Miku Project Diva Future Tone on PlayStation 4, January 10th.
Probably not even a real game.
Totally getting delayed.
No, delayed till 2018. Night in the Woods, PS4, PC, Mac, Linux, January 10th.
I remember that game. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember. What is it? Do you know?
I just remember reading it on PlayStation Blog. I don't remember. It's an indie game.
Criminal Girls Invite Only coming to PC January 11th.
Man, finally getting off the Vita, getting over there. Go get him, Criminal Girls. I'm sure Zyger's stoked.
His little brother?
The newborn?
Yeah.
I don't think the newborn is going to care too much.
Brother or sister?
Little brother.
Little brother. You're going to love it. You can play his first PC game, Criminal Girls.
Wow.
Master Race. There you go.
He's 3 days old. You're putting him in front of that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Shout out to you, Zyger, and your new little brother. Atelier,
yeah.
Shali Plus, Alchemists of the Dusk Sea. Vita.
Yeah, it's a role-playing game.
January
the
17th.
Atelier games are actually pretty popular, but with the RPG niche or whatever. But I mean, I used to get those games. I felt like when I was running IGN PlayStation, I get that game like every 2.5 months, and I'm like, I don't know what this is or why
does this keep coming? Why does this keep happening?
It's always Atelier blah, Alchemist of the blah. I'm like, all right.
There's a lot of words there.
Yeah, there's wow. Who cares?
Dragon Quest VIII. Journey of the Cursed King.
Yeah.
3DS, January 20th. Is it cursed or cursed?
I always said cursed, but
I forgot. We looked this up recently. What's the difference
I was
between cursed and cursed? It was on GOG at some point.
I thought it was just the pronunciation. Was like cursed.
Dragon Quest VIII. Did you play that one?
No. Dragon Quest VIII is the one I think I didn't play. That's the PS2 one. People love it. A lot of people talk about that one. A lot of people talk about 7 and 8 as their favorite ones. And so I have no very little input on it. 9 was the last one I played. Well, I played Dragon Quest Heroes and Dragon Quest Builders, but
So I don't know much about Dragon Quest at all. So I know that there's the ones that they're localizing for the first time from Japan. Which ones were those?
8 was out here. The ones I think you're thinking of were 5 and 6, but this was on DS. I want to say 2009.
Oh, I thought the new one, like there were some new ones coming out there.
7 and
America
8
for the first time.
You could be seeing Builders or Heroes or something like that because 7 and 8 were here. 7.
Oh, okay.
Dragon Quest 7 came out on PS1. I want to say in 2000. It was called Dragon Quest 7 because that was what still the series was called. And then Dragon Quest 8 came out here as well. So I don't know specifically which ones they're calling about, but in terms of the mainline series, 1, 2, 3, and 4 were on NES and Famicom. 5 and 6 were Super Famicom games. Neither of them came here, and those were the ones that people had circled and wanted, and so those were brought to DS some time ago. I played them both on there.
Kevin, you just had a little chuckle over there. What's going on? Totally unrelated.
That's not distracting at all. Thank you, Kevin.
I still want
want a curtain.
As if the curtain would distract from that laugh.
Gravity Rush 2,
Hell yeah.
PlayStation 4, January 20th.
Yeah,
Look
that'll
forward
hit.
to it.
The game's done. They were very clear that they moved it to get it out of the way.
Yeah. So they're making good moves.
Yeah.
Talking about the last topic about people fucking up and shit.
Sure.
You guys, where's your...
I love Gravity
meter
Rush
at?
1. And when I say love, I mean I gave it a 7.5. But I'm excited for more of it. I'm looking forward to playing it. Whenever I play it at an event or see it at an event, I'm like, fuck, I should go back and play more Gravity Rush. And I'm like, no, because this looks a lot like the first Gravity Rush. And if I go and play Gravity Rush again, then I'm going to come back and be like, why do I want to play this?
I doubt I'll play it.
It's a fun, Kat's a cool character. She's a superhero that we've all gotten to experience her origin or whatever. And now she's back great. The new powers, it's like whatever, but it's cool. It was always fun to fly.
Urban Empire on PC, January 20th.
Can't wait.
Don't know what that is.
No idea.
Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8
God.
Final Chapter Prologue.
You gonna play it?
Hell yeah. Are you kidding me? It's the first time we get to play in the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine. I'm down for that. Playing as Aqua. A little sequel to Birth by Sleep.
You think this one gets delayed anymore?
No. January 24th. It's happening. It's already been delayed.
I'm aware.
It's too early.
Don't act like that. Don't act like one delay is all anybody gets or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. I don't see this one getting delayed. Like this is
too soon.
for what? For this?
No, I'm saying it's too soon to delay.
It's too close. We're
Oh,
too close. to
gotcha. Yeah. No, I definitely don't think this is too soon. This one's been percolating for way too damn long. I'm excited for it though. New Kingdom Hearts is going to be great. I don't really care too much about the other parts of this collection. It's weird that and we'll get to this later, but they're releasing the Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5, 2.5 remix HD collection, whatever the hell it's called, on PlayStation 4. That's all of the Kingdom Hearts games except for these. And so it's like, oh man, like just
They're gonna get blood from a stone over and over on this until you guys stop giving them money.
yeah.
So,
But I mean, I'm so happy they're doing that collection. That's the one people actually wanted.
Don't forget, Goofy says that Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming in 2015.
15 was it?
that was the best.
But anyway, I'm very excited for it. It looks fantastic. I don't expect it to be too long though. The new part, I forgot what it's called. It's not back cover is the movie they're doing, and that'll be whatever. Then there's the weird.
I
forgot what else is in it. I'm trying to think. There's the 3 things. 2 of them are like whatever. it's the 3DS game, Dream Drop Distance, which is fine. That game's fine. But I'm excited for the last part of it. Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, January 24th. Hell yeah, man!
Can't wait.
I'm scared to play it. but I want
PSVR, bruh. Front to back,
We'll see.
bruh.
it. And the big call dog, Tales of Berseria.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right?
Tales of Berseria, yeah.
Berseria.
Braziers.
Tales of Braziers.
January 24th on PS4 and PC.
I got my early build, preview build only, so I'm not going to even... I got to talk to our friend Nick over there because, I feel bad because we're not, at IGN I used to play the preview builds because we had to preview games, and I'm like, I can't
I'm not going to invest hours in this.
No, because then I have to do it again, Some of the advantage on PS3. PS3 you played so much better with early copies of games where you can kind of carry your save over. We used to manipulate the shit out of PS3s. It was so funny. You can't do that to PS4 anymore. We were the ones that Roper was the one I think that figured out how to get trophies from a debug PlayStation onto the PlayStation Network.
God bless him.
It was like such a well kept secret that no one when we
Sony didn't know how to do.
No, like when we told people we knew how to do it, they're like, what? Because we used to. But when PS4
awesome.
came out, I was so bummed because then it was all fucked up and we had to play early games without trophies. So Zestiria, which was the last Tales game, I think I played it for only a couple hours, and I love Tales. I beat the shit out of the last few Tales games, including Exillia 2. And it actually Exillia 2 I played for like 45 hours and didn't beat because I had to move on. That was like one of the last games I ever reviewed at IGN. But to me, I felt like the game was open and empty. It was them trying a different thing, and I appreciate that. One of the major things that Tales of Hysteria tried to do was to integrate battles, so that it's like you run into enemies on the screen, and then it would, in the old games it would kind of stop and become an arena, but in this it was like trying to be like the seamless kind of like semi-open world, but also the way fights used to be or whatever. Anyway, like the game didn't seem to resonate with people. It seemed like a lot of people didn't like it. And I certainly dropped out after a few hours. I'm like, this just isn't grabbing me. The combat system's weird. I don't care about these characters. And I really thought Exilia was a great step in the right direction. So I'm excited about this just to see how Baba-san and those guys have responded to that and put the stuff out there. And see, because Tales I think is the most consistent role playing series. It's not like triple A, role playing, but from Fantasia all the way to Exilia, you had with a few hiccups like Tales of the Abyss and stuff, you had really great games like consistently from the mid '90s all the way to now, and so a lot of role playing game fans that are more old school like me put a lot of stock in that particular series, and I'm excited to see what the new one is, and I assume I'll get it like the first week of January and try to dive in because I have the hankering. I haven't played a good role-playing game since I Am Setsuna, and I have a hankering for one.
Yakuza 0, PS4,
Chip.
January 24th.
People are stoked about that one. That's a big deal.
I love Yakuza games, and this has been long enough. The problem with the Yakuza for a while they were coming out too quick, too close to each other. You play one Yakuza game, you've played all the Yakuza games, but you come back because they're fun when there's a break. We've had a long break. I'm ready to go. Let's get this prequel story going. What are you up to, Kaz?
The Wardrobe, coming to PC, Mac, and Linux, January 26th.
Sounds like
Don't
a baby
know
game.
what that is.
Skip the PC games.
Disgaea 2, coming to PC, Mac, and Linux.
That's big.
January 30th. People love Disgaea 2.
People do. People love Disgaea. NIS is really going all in, as well as Falcom and Xseed and a few of the other niche developers and publishers, in putting games on PC. And I think that they're finding some positive feedback there. People, whether it's Trails of the Sky from people love those Falcom RPGs, or some strategy role playing games like Disgaea. There's Danganronpa, visual novels. These games are kind of leaking on the Steam at a slow rate, and I think that that's actually a logical place for them, more logical even than I think Vita. So expect more of that. I think they're seeing a lot of positivity. If Disgaea 2, they're going to keep going down the line.
Yep.
Disgaea 2 is old.
Constructor HD, coming to PS4, Xbox One, PC, January 31st. Don't know what that is. Digimon World Next Order, coming to PlayStation 4, January 31st. Awesome. Cool. The Cyber Sleuth was great.
No Vita version, I guess.
Vita and PS4. So hopefully that one's good too. Dynasty Warriors God Seekers, PS4 and Vita, January 31st. Hitman The Complete First Season, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on January 31st. Is that when you're going to play through that, or you plan on playing
I'm playing it now. And as I said on another show, the person who's actually playing the game is Erin, who I woke up multiple nights in a row at like 4 a.m. to find her playing fucking Hitman. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Very hardcore game. So I'm happy to see her play it. I played it for 5 or 6 hours, the initial map and then the Paris map, and I have all the other Sapienza and all these other maps to play through. Colorado is one of the maps. It's cool. I don't have quite a grasp on it yet where I don't know if I love it, but it's I like the approach, the episodic approach, and I like the bang for your buck. I feel like for $10 a map, you're actually getting a lot. You get one, so like the Paris takes place in this massive mansion, and you're tasked to kill this couple that are like fashionistas or whatever. And so you can go about it as you know in any different way you want to. And then there's a lot of depth in like escalations and in trophies and different costumes and weapons that you're unlocking. You're leveling your character up as you go, and then as you level up higher, it can be like, well, you're level 6 now, so you can actually start in a room in the mansion to cut down your time. Or you're level 8, so now you have a machine gun if you want to just mow people down. And then at level 10, you have all, so it's kind of neat, and it keeps you going and keeps you playing. So I like the metagame. At the very least, I think the metagame's great. Whether or not I think the gameplay is great, I don't know. But more time. That's one of the games I'll be spending time with this fall. Or this holiday break.
Then sometime in January, no specific number attached. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Mega Battle, coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC.
You can't wait, I assume.
This is one of those random games they just announced at PAX, I think, and it was just there. They didn't even really make a big deal out of it. It was just playable. I'm happy it's a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger game.
Yeah.
It looks like a simple, side-scrolling beat 'em up, which is like, that's cool. Not really down with the art style. It seems kind of Flash game looking. I'm gonna wait for the reviews on that one.
Gotcha.
We'll see how that shakes out, because it could be awesome, or it could just be a Flash game they're putting on consoles. But I'm happy it's Mighty Morphin, and like the OG Mighty Morphin, not the.
Oh, it's not the movie stuff.
No. It's like OG.
Is Tommy in it?
I'm going to assume so.
As Green Ranger.
I'm going to assume so.
Thank you.
Yes. The Flame in the Flood, PlayStation 4 coming in January.
This is an Xbox One game that is finally coming over here. It's I played it for like 10 or 20 minutes. It didn't click for me because it's a survival game or whatever. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking the right one, where you're rafting or whatever and you have to go down there and survive long, and it just didn't work for me.
Moving into February, Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World coming to 3DS February 3rd. Fuck yes. Yoshi's Woolly World, awesome. But now on the 3DS, I'm all about that. I never fully did the whole completionist thing for that game, and I want to because the game it's good. It's really good. I think it could be great. Adding some Poochie exclusive levels and more of that stuff. Definitely down. Poochie's the man. And it also comes with the amiibo.
Which one?
The Poochie amiibo. Yarn Poochie.
True story. I have no idea who fucking Poochie is.
Poochie's Yoshi's like dog friend.
As the name would suggest.
I mean, that was a character on The Simpsons who went back to his home planet, Poochie.
Touhou Genso Wanderer. PlayStation 4 and Vita. February 7th.
Oh, is that a Shiren the Wanderer spinoff or a game from that series? It might be. Shiren the Wanderer just came to Vita not too long ago. It could be that. I don't know. Otherwise, I have no idea.
Neo coming to PlayStation 4 February 9th. Another one. Very excited to see how this fares.
Me too.
Because it could definitely be like a 6. You know,
I'm more excited to see. I mean, critically, I don't know. Commercially, I'm interested to see if it turns into a Demon Soul or Dark Souls phenomenon. I think it has every. As we talked about with Demon Souls. Demon Souls was developed for PlayStation 3 in Japan and published by Sony there, and they didn't believe in it at all. They had no idea what the fuck they had. And so Atlas is the one that published it in the West, and Atlas is the one that reaped all the benefits. And then by the time everyone realized and this dust settled, Bandai Namco went in and was like, we'll just make this game, call it something else, and put it on all the platforms. Sony totally fucked that up and had it by the balls and let it go, which is why Bloodborne was the reaction to that. So I think that this game has a chance to be something like that. Because people just fucking love those kinds of games.
And people there's an audience for this that have been waiting for Neo and have been excited for Neo.
It was announced a long time ago. I mean, Neo was announced when I was in college.
Yeah.
So, and Tecmo Koei has done, I think that's the order of the names now, has done a nice job of doing what I think should be done more of for single-player centric games, which is to put alphas out and to respond to feedback in ways that I think are unexpected, then put out another one and then respond to that feedback and so on and so forth. Similar to what Square did with Final Fantasy. And I think it's going to benefit them as well because that's the most core player. The people are most excited are going to have the game catered most to them. Yeah. It's supposed to be like Onimusha meets Dark Souls.
Sounds exciting.
So, it sounds super exciting because that's the closest we're going to get to an Onimusha game.
And the people that that played the alpha totally loved it. Like I know the Easy Allies guys like that. I was talking to them at PSX and they're just like, holy shit, Neo's fucking great. So
I'm stoked.
Should be cool.
It's definitely going to be one on my list.
For Honor, PS4, Xbox One, PC, February 14th. Little Valentine's Day.
Always online. Mm-hmm. Even single player, Colin. Even single player.
Hitman's the same way.
All right.
Yeah. Which is weird. You have to be connected online and it fucks with people's saves sometimes and stuff like that.
No, that's so good.
I don't care about For Honor. I think it looks cool, but I just don't understand why a samurai would fight a Viking. I just don't understand.
It's cool. It's fun.
Why would a fucking weird ass dinosaur hang out with a Poochie? It's just how it happens. It's just video games.
That makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people always recommend that we should try this. Maybe we will one day. But it's like, it's one of those I see and like love the dude with the cane and the cool hat at E3. And I'm just like, oh, great. I'm glad people are digging it. I don't think it's for me.
That was another thing, we've talked about this before, but at the GameStop convention, GameStop Expo. That was, I think, the talk of the show in terms of what was playable on the show floor. Everyone would be like, man, this game is awesome. Like, I didn't expect it. It's one of those games where I think the time frame is going to really benefit it because I thought it was coming out in December, just without really being attached to it and looking into it. And so I thought it might have already been released, and I just didn't pass by the wayside. But
you mean like Steep?
Yeah, but people seem to like Steep too.
Yeah, Steep's getting good reviews. Although
sure, it's getting good reviews. No one's talking about it though.
Yeah,
that was a weird game to end the Ubisoft conference with too. I will say with For Honor, I did read something today about the single player campaign and how it feels super tacked on and like lame, which is disappointing for people like me that have no intention of playing the game online. So that's pretty much a pass for me, I think.
Sniper Elite 4, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, February 14th.
Stoked about that game.
This is the one you played at E3?
I played at E3. I never played a Sniper Elite game. And I sat down and played it for a long time, like 45 minutes. I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
To be clear, that was a good one because it was the PR had reached out to me because I was booking E3, and they're like, "This is a game Colin would like. Like we know he's the shooter guy. We listen to your shows. This is a game he'd be into, and that's why I booked it. And you actually liked it.
Yeah, I dug it. It's really cool. It's very methodical, and I don't always like methodical shooters. I mean, I love Doom. That's like the least methodical thing in the world. But there's a place for that. I think Wolfenstein was a little more methodical and stuff like that. So there's a place for that kind of game, and this is methodical to the next degree. I liked it a lot what I played, so I'm excited about it. I'm definitely gonna scoop it up. And I've been meaning to maybe go back and play Sniper Elite 3 as well. I don't think you have to, but
Is Sniper Elite the game with like the ridiculous ass like Mortal Kombat type X-ray? Shots?
That's the one. Yep,
Cool.
which is a little unnecessary.
Berserk and the Band of the Hawk coming to PS4, PC, and Vita.
I've never heard of it, but I
21st.
like that it's a crazy ass name.
Berserk. And
I like that it's coming to
Band of
Vita.
the Hawk.
That's all I care about.
Halo Wars 2, Xbox One and PC, February 21st.
It's a big one, man.
Hope it's good. Alfredo's little brother, man, that was his game. He was all MLG and shit in it, which is weird. Who would have thought? Pro Halo Wars players, but that was a thing.
That's a big one. I think that's gonna be a big one.
Yeah, people are excited because it's just been gone for so long. I remember
Yeah.
IGN, Clements, and Brudvig and Clayman being obsessed with that game.
And I think Halo needs a little bit of a boost, like a heart, like one of those things. You rub them together and you put them on someone's heart. Like
Paddles.
they're not paddles. It's almost they're not. It's not a dead franchise. Obviously, Halo 5 people really liked it, but it needs something a little different to get people excited for the next mainline one. And people fucking loved Halo Wars, man. I remember when we were at IGN, people loved that game. Not only the readers, but people in the office, Hillary and Eric and Clayman. I think they all were.
And Clements.
And Clements. Yeah. No, we don't remember Ryan though.
Ease Origin,
You don't remember any of them.
PS4 and Vita, February 21st.
Yeah, I'm in.
You love the Ease games, right?
I do. Action RPGs.
Lego Worlds, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on February 24th.
Remember how weird this was? This is the Lego Worlds one they put out on PC that was like the Minecraft Lego game or whatever. I did one demo of it when I was waiting to do my Lego Dimensions demo at E3. I was like, all right, this is cool. And it was kind of it's been quiet forever, and then here it is. It's coming out and everything. You're like, okay, like no
Who's
idea.
working on it? Is it made by the
I don't
Lego
think
Games
it's
people?
TT Games. I could be wrong. I'll check for you.
God, this is such one of those ridiculous irony situations where it's like you're telling me Minecraft is Legos but in video games, but now you're making the Lego version of Minecraft. All right. Horizon Zero Dawn, PlayStation 4, February 28th.
It's gonna be awesome. Feel it. I feel
What
it.
do you feel, Colin?
My balls.
Good.
I really
No,
do think
TT Games is making it. Sorry, my bad.
oh, cool. Well, that makes sense. I think that we've said it many times. I think this is the next big one for Sony, and they need it, man. In terms of like AAA games, seeing a good critical response, but I think a mixed commercial response for The Last Guardian. Obviously, Gravity Rush 2 is not. No one cares about Gravity Rush 2. I mean, frankly, and they need this big fucking game. We haven't. When you really think about it, Uncharted is the only one we've had on the PS4 in the PS4's life cycle, like this big fucking game. And I think that Horizon's going to be great. And I wouldn't be surprised if the sequel was already in production, to be honest.
I hope it's big. I hope it's huge. I hope there's tons of quests. I hope there's a world to get lost in.
I don't want it to be too big. I think 20 or 25 hours is perfect. Perfect.
March. Birthday is the beginning. PC and PS4 March 7th.
Who doesn't love a good birthday?
That's a solid point.
Yeah.
Solid point, Craig. Nier Automata, PS4 March 7th.
Looks great.
I really hope it's good.
I think it's gonna be.
I'm very excited about it. It
What
looks
a weird
great.
game to bring back. But the original Nier, did you play the original Nier?
I played enough of it to know I didn't like
So
it.
weird.
But this one
It's
looks
a really
different.
weird
This one
game.
looks more actiony and more like.
Oh, definitely.
This one looks like the Platinum that we all loved.
Exactly. This. Yes.
Yeah, I played Nier for like a weekend, and I'm like, this game's fucking weird. Like that's like I almost was like, not creepy, like because it's not creepy, but like I was just like, this game it's got a strange spirit to it. It actually felt a lot like White Knight Chronicles in that regard, where I'm like, I don't really want to play you, but for some reason I am.
Yeah. And speaking of Platinum real quick, and the Platinum that we love,
Yeah.
going back to 2 topics ago about the biggest mistakes and fuck ups of 2016, I want to give a shout out to Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, which, my God, after Transformers Devastation proved like we can do these 80s franchises justice, make them fun games, great stories, have fun gameplay and all that stuff. Man, they fucked Turtles up so bad.
Platinum's fucking a lot of things
God
up.
damn it,
That's
man.
why. That's
But
why.
hopefully this one seems to be the good Platinum.
I hope so. They're also working on Dragon Bound or whatever the fuck it's called, and Scalebound and all these other. I just feel like they've lost their way. I think that's somewhat evident. You know, like I don't know if they've scaled too much. They have too many projects in going at one time. That name really meant something at one time, man. They made great fucking games, and I mean, I don't think that that's the case anymore.
I haven't told you just because we've been busy. There's a lot going on. But after this, tonight or whatever, Nier's in the other room. I just haven't had time to do anything.
Really?
Yeah. Preview build, but you can get in there.
Fuck yeah.
You can get balls deep, find out
Holy
if you like
shit.
it.
It's a good sign
That's awesome.
that they sent us one.
Oh man, that really excites me. Moving on, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, PC, Xbox One, PS4, March
great.
7th.
That's gonna get delayed.
We got to do Let's Plays on this
Oh
shit,
God,
man.
don't get delayed. Fuck, I can't.
That's the
like,
first one. That's what we were talking about, right? That's gonna get delayed.
Man, that game was so much fun at E3, and the idea of us just fucking around and playing
Gonna
that
be great,
nonstop and doing Let's Plays and then
They're
just going home
saying
and
nothing
playing.
about it, which I think is a pretty bad sign. That it's not that it's not going to be good,
I
but
think they just have too much shit going on right now, right? Like,
maybe I think you have to kind of manage expectations with this being a Ubisoft game. South Park's probably going to come out in that window. I think that this.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that this.
I think South
this
Park's
gets pushed.
way
I think
pushed.
this gets pushed. I don't know that they. I mean, it was supposed to come out in December.
I know, and the fact that you are hearing nothing about that game now, and if that's a game you'd want to be promoting, I think that's looking. I think it's. I don't think it's going to be as bad as the last South Park game was in terms of delays, but I don't think you're seeing that.
It looks exactly the fucking same
end
as
of
the last
summer.
South Park game, which is totally fine.
if not fall, and I wouldn't be surprised if they sat on it till fall.
We'll see. That's the first one I say is going to get delayed, though.
I hope. I could totally see it happening. I hope it doesn't.
Danganronpa 1+2 Reload,
Yeah.
PS4, March 14th.
I hope that this is a way for people that, because it's all your fault that the Vita failed, obviously. So
It's your fault.
I want people, this is a good way for people to get back into the game on a console, if that's what they get into the franchise on a console, in anticipation of the third one. Danganronpa games are great. They're legitimately great games. And so I'm excited that there'll be a new way to play. I think they're already on PC, but they're putting them all together and everyone will be able to enjoy them. And props to NIS for doing that.
Get ready for the Mama Kuma Cubs.
Oh, can't wait for the Mama Kuma Cubs.
Star Trek Bridge Crew, finally coming out on PlayStation VR, Rift, and Vive, March 14th.
A game that looks rough, but people who play it do enjoy it. So it's like, all right.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I'm not a Star Trek guy, so
Yeah,
I
me
don't think
either.
it's for
But
me.
you want to drive spaceships.
I do want to. I'm desperate to actually drive them. So
Dreamfall Chapters, The Longest Journey, comes to Xbox One and PS4.
is
on March
Dreamfall Chapters?
23rd.
Is that the hidden objects game?
Maybe.
Like Agatha Christie shit?
Let's check.
I could be wrong. Anyway, go ahead.
No idea. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix, PS4, March 28th.
Didn't that already come out?
Motherfucking yeah. No.
Oh, that's a PS4 version. The PS3
Yeah, yeah.
one came out though.
Well, PS3 1.5 came out and then 2.5 came out. This is a
okay,
collection,
the
of both of those
on the new
together.
console.
Dreamfall Chapters, The Longest Journey is an episodic 3D adventure game with emphasis on character interaction, exploration of the game world, and puzzle solving.
Okay, so I knew it was some sort of adventure game. I guess it's not a hidden object game though.
MLB The Show, 2017,
Ken Griffey Jr. Edition.
March 28th.
It's gonna do great, obviously.
Those guys know what they're doing. And gals.
Then other March situations we got going on. Outcast Second Contact.
My baby don't
PC,
mess
Xbox One, and
around
PS4. Overload on all the consoles, essentially. Don't know what that is. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is going to come to PC and Xbox One. It's already out on PS4 right now. Routine coming to PC and Mac. And most importantly, Nintendo Switch. Motherfucking coming with its launch lineup. So that's a whole other topic we'll get to at another point once we know. Then moving on to April.
Hell yeah, here we go.
Sniper Ghost Warrior 3.
I think that game looks cool too. We saw that at GameStop Expo. I think I never played one of these either. I think the spirit of it is the Sniper Ghost Warrior is actually the 3 different ways you can play the game. I think this is the game I'm thinking of.
I watched this demo. I think
so you can play as like a sniper, you can play as like a stealthy ghost, or you can just come in and fucking mow people down. And they played a map of us. I'm like, this looks cool. I don't think it's the highest budget game in the world, but I think that I think it looks fun. I'm gonna play it.
Coming to Xbox One, PC, and PS4 on April 4th. Persona 5.
Hell
PS4
yeah.
and PS3, April 4th.
Hell
Bulletstorm, full clip edition, Xbox One, PC, PS4, April 7th.
I don't really think I played Bulletstorm. That's a People Can Fly game.
Yeah, I remember
that
this.
somehow is related to Epic and Cliffy B in some tangential way.
He came out and talked about it in the beginning. I remember. Yeah,
Gearbox is publishing it.
running around kicking people, and that was the big thing, the big mechanic, being able to fucking pull people in and kick them away or whatever.
Gearbox putting it out, which is interesting. Probably a test bed to see if there will be a sequel. I'm always down for a shooter, so a single player shooter. So I'm in.
So at this point, it's guessing a lot of release dates. Actually, real quick, Kev, can you look up Ukulele? The
that just got a
the
release
release
date.
date was just announced. So this
yeah.
hasn't
And also
been updated yet.
Azure or Valkyria. What the fuck is that game called? Azure.
Now it's now it's just Valkyria Revolution. Is that right?
Yeah, that's something like that. Valkyria Revolution also was announced the date today for PS4, PS4 Vita, and Xbox One, which is strange because that game was not even on Xbox One in Japan. So I think it's high time Atlas started experimenting with putting their game. I mean, Catherine and other games were on there, but to see, like why isn't there an Xbox One version of Persona?
I don't. Did they put a date on it today, or was it just that it's coming out?
Just for ukulele. No, they did put a date on it.
March. That definitely has it. And no, it's still Valkyria.
Oh no, it's spring.
Valkyria Revolution is now spring 2017.
Okay, sorry.
Ukulele has a release date.
I know.
Yeah.
We did it on Culinary Live.
Click on the Wikipedia page. Scroll. April 11th.
April 11th, 2017. All right, cool. That makes a lot of sense.
I'm excited about that one too.
Yeah, me too. It looks really good. Damn it, now I need to reload this.
Reload! My baby don't mess around because she loves you so.
Aero. AAERO is coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One Q1 2017. Don't know what that is. Everspace coming to PC and Xbox One. The Fall Part 2, Unbound, coming to PlayStation 4. Do you know what that is?
No, I was just fucking around.
Mm-hmm. Outlast 2.
Yes.
Coming to PC, PS4, Xbox
Red
One.
Barrels. I loved Outlast is fucking awesome. It's a great game. Ending sucks. But that's usually the case with a lot of horror games.
That's horror games and movies.
Yep.
But man, that game's fucking cool. I really love that game. If you haven't played it, you should. It was one of the earliest PS4 games that was worth a damn.
South Park, The Fractured But Whole. PC, PS4, Xbox One. Set here for Q1 2017.
Delay.
What do we think?
I think it's gonna get delayed.
I think it's going to come out. Like
You think March?
I think March or April. I think it's going to come out. Yeah, I don't think they needed that much time, but we'll see. I think they're being cagey and weird because that's the way marketing goes now. Everyone's trying different things.
I just remember what a struggle it was to get the last South Park game out, and granted part of that was the whole THQ thing, but it was also very much Matt and Trey and how much control they had over that and how much they wanted it and what they wanted it to be. And I don't think that's gone away here, and that's why when they originally announced that release date of December this year, I was like, holy fuck, that's totally not what I would have expected. Awesome. And they got delayed, and so again, I think that's a game they have enough expectations on that they could put it as a fall game and clean up there.
So you think fall, not even like June or July?
I could see. I mean, that's what I said earlier in the thing. I could see it being the end of summer or into the fall.
Okay. Styx Shards of Darkness coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One. Siberia 3.
Oh man.
PC, Mac, PS4, and Xbox One. Torment Tides of Numenera. PC, PS4, Xbox One. The Wild 8 coming to PC. Ukulele, we now know. Valkyria Revolution, is that the one you're
That's
talking
what we
about?
were just talking about.
Yep.
Spring 2017
Cool.
sometime.
Mass Effect Andromeda, set for spring 2017.
Delayed.
You think where are we putting that?
I don't know.
Is that a June or a fall?
That's a fall, I would think.
I don't know. This is me reading into things a little bit, so it's all to be taken with a grain of salt. But when I tweeted out that I'm concerned about this game after the Game Awards, Aaron Flynn himself tweeted back at me and said, who is the leader of BioWare, and was like, I'll tell you the story over a beer sometime or something like that. And I'm like, this game's fucked. Or at some point this game was fucked and they're unfucking it. So I don't know. I mean, so I think it could come out as soon as March or April, and I think at the latest it doesn't come out this year at all or next year at all.
I could see spring of next year too.
I think there's something wrong with
Spring
it.
of the next year?
That's what I'm saying. That's where Mass Effects historically come out. You know what I mean? And I could see them sticking with that.
Wow, that would be nuts.
I just think there's something. God, I wish I knew. Remember, Edmonton's not making this game, so this is a new. I'm sure there's veterans from the old games, but this is not the same team. And I think that they felt like they needed to be more ambitious, and I'm sure that they are. I think that they needed to tie in more of what made Mass Effect 1 great to a lot of the purist Mass Effect fans like me, and they seem to have done that. And I think the biggest thing is that they feel like they have to tie in a story that has more meaning and more weight and more agency, considering the response to the way Mass Effect 3 went. When I don't agree with those particular responses, specifically with Mass Effect 3's ending, but I think a lot of shit's on their shoulders with this game. I think that they realize that they have to deliver. They realize that people were not happy with Mass Effect 3. They realize that there's things that need to make it more role-playing like, and people have bigger expectations. Worlds are getting bigger, games are getting bigger, and I think that it's crushing that game. Like I think there's something wrong with it. And I thought that was an interesting response from Aaron, who's someone I know, but not like that well, to put that out in the open is interesting. So I think
it doesn't carry tone, right? Because it could be, oh man, I'd buy you a beer. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean I'll buy you a beer. It's been a fucking nightmare over here.
I don't know. You can't read into it. That's the way I read into it. I mean,
but you are usually a down
but I'm a
person.
fucking idiot. So
You're projecting your own emotional onto it.
that's true.
Blackwood Crossing, coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One early 2017.
Tim, stop making up games, please.
The Church in the Darkness,
Jesus.
PC, PS4, Xbox One.
When's the Keyhole and the Rhombus coming up?
The Division Last Stand, PC, PS4, Xbox One. Friday the 13th.
Ah.
That's Sessler's game.
Yeah.
I think that game sounds fucking cool.
Yeah, it
Whether or
does.
not they deliver on it, I don't know. I think it's cool running around Crystal Lake, being a fucking goon.
Yeah, just being some dumb kid trying to have sex.
Chicanery.
Hand of Fate 2, PC, Xbox One, PS4. Hollow Knight, Beneath and Beyond. PC, Mac.
I love getting
Linux,
beneath and going beyond.
Wii U. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. Oh, man, ukulele. No more Wii U. Coming to Switch. I think a good sign. Mirage, Arcane Warfare. Neurovoider. Shadow Warrior 2. PS4, Xbox One. Suda51's The Silver Case Remaster.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
PS4.
Yeah, that should be fucking pleasantly weird. So we'll see. They had a big PlayStation blog post about that, I think.
Strafe. PC and PS4. Tekken 7. PC, PS4, Xbox One. Vikings, Wolves of Midgard. You just
Let's
did a
Plays
Let's
up
Play of
right
this.
now on youtube.com/kindafunnygames.
Is it
Like
cool?
Diablo.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's cool. I think sorry, short answer there. It's cool if you like Diablo.
Cool. And then the last thing is Marvel vs. Capcom 4, which that's an interesting one. I don't know where they'll put that. Maybe that sounds like an August game to me. Like not quite holidays, but no earlier than that. Feels like a good spot also with the MCU movies coming out. So yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we'll do a whole bunch of topics about the Switch when it comes out and its launch lineup and games lineup to come and all that stuff. I'm going to end the Gamescast there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Let us know in the comments below what games you think will get delayed and what games you're most excited for in 2017. Until next time, I love you.
Sirens! Nomen Skyrens!